We're going to drain the swamp of corruption. Drain the swamp. And that's what we're doing. We are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp.
Is Harvey Barnard from the Nesara organization. Nesara stands for National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. It's a package that Harvey has put together, and he joins us in studio today.
I'm a systems troubleshooter. I take a look at a system for my clients and decide what's wrong, what's the problem. And we've got some real problems in this country. This time next year, we're looking at a $6 trillion debt. Nesara is the only bill out there that says we get rid of $1 trillion worth of debt up front.
Drain the swamp, and that's what we're doing.
Hi, I'm DIONESE Gerberich, D for short. As you may know, my father was Harvey Francis Barnard, author of the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. We can clear up a misconception right there. It is stabilization.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Real Nesara Show. I'm DIONESE Gerberich, and I've got my co-host here, FCB, and his team, and we are so excited to be here tonight. Glad to have y'all with us. This chapter is going to be fantastic. I'm super, super excited about this one. We're going to learn about the creation of the swamp and what it really means, really. So, how you been doing, FCB?
Good, love. How you going? You doing well?
Doing good. Had a pretty good week.
It's been a very interesting week, to say the least, especially with President Trump. Has been doing a lot of amazing things, hasn't he, with the UN? And
exactly.
He's phenomenal.
He's busy as usual. So I don't know how he does it.
Look, there's only one of us, and I don't know. He's got a whole team there to keep up.
It's amazing, but I'm try to keep up as much as I can.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, as usual, we usually start off with a little bit of a grifter report, and so that's your specialty. I got a couple little things too. I'll share with the folks. But
rightio. Right, are we ready, Dave, for this one?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Let's.
Okay. Do you want to start with which one first?
Oh,
do you want to start off? Which one? No, the one that you remember. There are people out there that have been replicated or cloned, shall we say, right? Like Carol. Okay, Carol.
Oh, yeah, I'll start with that one. Earlier this afternoon, I got a message and actually had a whole conversation. You can throw that up there. And
yes.
I recognized it immediately. And the gist of this conversation was that that we were totally wrong, and that the XLM and the XRP, the other coin was the quantum financial system was already up and being run and tested. And if you show the chat, I asked repeatedly, well, who's your source and all this kind of stuff, and they sent me a picture of a lady talking, and I said, who is this lady and who has verified her statements? And they put Donald J. Trump. And I thought, okay. And then
it looks like a picture of Carol.
Is that Carol?
Carol.
Is that? Oh my God.
Let me show. We got to have a laugh.
I didn't include the picture in the screenshot that.
No, I've got it here. Is it this one here? Carol, you ready?
Okay.
Look at that right there.
Okay.
Carol, are you sure they didn't clone you? You know what I mean? Is that a picture of you, Carol? Are you sure that's not you? You know what I mean? It's got an O. I thought it would have seen a Q on that. Do you see it?
Yeah, this lady said that, oh, yeah, that she knew from several sources that the QFS was already up and tested and running, and everybody was being advised to buy the coin because that was going to be the only currency, and even noted you, FCB, as being the one to have recommended that to everyone and sent me the link to sign up and get my own account.
Oh, my God.
I just kept rolling with it until finally I said, okay, I'm done.
You know, when I saw it there, I was rolling around laughing. Because you know what, these grifters just don't stop, do they?
They don't.
They just don't
come at me directly, you know.
Is
so
this the one where it started off with? This one here, is it? Or
yeah,
am I on the
let's
right?
see. Yeah, that's it. Called out the pulse. And I'm, you know me, I'm polite old lady from the South. I'm very nice, and you know, told her that the quantum QFS system did not exist. In fact, sent her an AI, you know, that's the search I did real quick, you know, just grabbed a screenshot of that. And she said, oh, if you read what they put, if it's a bot, they don't spell very well. I can say they need maybe some grammar work, but yeah, told me that, oh no, that's fake and they're lying to you and blah blah blah.
Yes, yeah, no, and basically, guys, I mean, look, these kind of bots or whatever they are, because there's a lot of these things going around, Dee, to be quite honest, and they are using ChatGTP and all these bots to be able to do this. Did you feel that you were speaking to a bot or a real person?
No, it seemed that it was a real person simply because of what I just notated, that there were some misspelled words, there were you know, some off grammar. You know, it seemed more like someone was actually typing it, which gave it authenticity. But
bots can do that, you know that.
Moment, and I certainly didn't click on any links.
Yeah, no, that's the link they try to get you to click on.
Yeah,
and you know, I will forward it to FCB. Look at that, Carol. It's got even your logo too. Your little photo of you on the canoe.
Right.
That's how authentic it is. I mean, this is the ridiculousness, guys. I mean, anyone that comes across this, report it straight away.
Yeah,
okay? Don't even engage, entertain them. You know what we're about. Those who watch us, they know, right?
Yeah,
what we're about.
They know what we're about, and we're growing and growing. And so obviously we're making some headway because they're coming at me directly, you know, and I don't have my identity, you know. So in fact, I'll tell you, this week, and I continue to do my homework and I go on sites and I make comments, but this week I went on a few sites and didn't put, oh, this is fake and all that kind of stuff. I just put out information about Harvey's book and what we were doing. And I got some interesting replies back, actually some positive ones. One site I came across, and I'm sorry I didn't screenshot it, but it was put out by, and he said, just a reminder for all you people who have been scammed, and it had a picture of Charlie Ward there. And I thought, okay, this is a friend. But look, the most interesting part of my week is I had a 45-minute argument with a bot. So let me tell you this story. You're going to love it.
God.
Okay. Yeah. On Facebook, when like I post something from the Nesara site, and then I'll view it from maybe my personal site. Underneath there's all these little meta tags. What is Nesara? Who is DIONESE GERBRECHT? Who blah, blah, blah. And so I hit on one, and of course it had fake information. So I start, talking to the bot and correcting it. And, I went on and on for about 45 minutes. And I finally, I made some headway, but not a whole lot. And finally at the end, I said, "You are the stupidest bot ever." Now, the story does have a happy ending. And actually, in one point of the conversation, they said, "Would you like me to direct you to such?" I said, "No, I'll just call Mark Z myself." And the bot said, I love this. "Well, it seems that you want to contact Mark Zuckerberg, but he's a very busy executive." And I thought, so am I. But anyway,
no, Mark is busy spreading out his Zuck bucks all over the place.
Right. I know he's no one more important than us. But wait a minute. At the end, the next day, I checked it, and the same thing. And you know what? the information was correct. I was shocked. shocked.
Gee.
So, and on several of the little tags that had the correct information about Harvey, the correct name of the bill, and information about me, and I said, okay, so
Mhm.
making some progress, which was good. It was good.
Well, look, let me tell you what happened with me, okay? And was with Rumble again, right?
Yeah.
Rumble have been playing games. Sorry, D, but this needs to be said.
Okay, go ahead.
Now, I actually wrote to them and I said, because what happened was they were mucking around with the video. What they're doing is they're enabling fraudsters. Let's be honest, right?
Mhm.
They continue to enable those that push the fake Nesara, Gesara bullshit, right, and everything else in between.
Mhm.
And I said, I'm going to take this opportunity because I've got the person there, and to give him a piece of my mind. And I actually told them, I said, what you're doing is actually enabling fraud. By doing that, what you're doing is these fraudsters are also using President Trump's likeness to push their wares. And I said, I'll forward that information to President Trump and his team.
I have.
I said, I said it in the email. I said that won't be taken lightly, because let me tell you something, he doesn't appreciate fraud. I know that for a fact. He doesn't appreciate, and especially those entities that use his likeness. Right? And I gave some examples, and I got hardcore facts and some receipts, as I always do. Now, I said we need to have a discussion about this. This is serious stuff. I said, because you know what? You're using President Trump's likeness. You're enabling these fraudsters to push and grift and millions of dollars. I said, what you're doing is you're enabling these entities to grift on these fake Nesara Gesara business and all the other fictitious embellishments, millions of dollars. And the reason why you're allowing this to continue is because these people have got such a huge reach, which means money for you through your advertising, and they're also pushing Rumble sponsors, right? So I actually wrote a very serious letter to him, and I'm waiting for a response, Claudio. You know who I'm speaking about, Mr. Romello. I am waiting for a response because you know what? As an investigative journalist, I can go digging and I can bring out all the facts and some receipts, and I will. And as I said, and I made it very clear, I said, you've also got your shareholders, the ones up the top of the food chain, which is BlackRock and Vanguard, State Street and all the rest of the gang. I said, they also own, up the top, they own all the rest of them, all the other social media platforms. They're the top shareholders. You'll find them everywhere. Now, they give you the illusion that they're about freedom of speech. That's the thing. They'll let you speak, but then whether you get that message out there to the larger audience is another thing. Do you know what I'm saying, D?
Right.
So I made it very clear, and I said, I've also teamed up with Javier Bernard, the real creator of Nesara, daughter, and I made it clear that we teamed up, and we got all the documents, we got all the facts and some receipts to prove that what we've been saying is correct.
Yeah.
I haven't heard back yet. I'm waiting to hear back from them.
Good. Well,
No.
I'll be excited to know what they say. Yeah.
No, I will. Now, getting back to the Grifters report. Now, let me show you the email that you received, D. All right. You want to go through that one? Obviously, I had to protect the identity of this person.
Okay. I can't see on that little screen. Yeah, that's the one I sent you. Oh, yeah, about Simon Parks. We had a request to look into him. And so I said I will forward it to my investigative journalist and let him.
Oh, you know me, D, what I do.
You did it.
Don't you worry, and I do it well. Hi, D. I'm going to read it, right?
Okay, go ahead.
Love your new show, right? I trusted Simon Parks and so much more than any other grifter. I bought the Zims, the Zimbabwe dollars to do with the humanitarian projects. So I could participate in this humanitarian program called something Collective Consciousness. That's the name of his, right?
Okay.
The collective grifting, because he was teamed up with Charlie Ward, and he thinks the world of Kerry Cassidy, that one right there. Don't even talk to me about her. She's absolutely disgusting. If you search Simon Parks, which I did, you know me. Please expose him. Oh, don't you worry. I've got all the dirt on that guy. Because I felt he was an honest and good person. And this is the thing. They prey on people's goodness. That's the problem, D.
Yeah.
They manipulate people. He had some disagreements with Charlie Ward, yes, because obviously, he's not making enough money off Charlie, so he had to go and branch off. I'm sure this man, along with his wife, yes, I know his wife as well, misled many people and are still misleading people today. Yes, they are. Love from California. Okay, let me show you something, D.
Okay, let's roll it.
Do you see that one? That's from his website, simonparks.org. And look who's at the front there. There's Simon on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see him right here?
Right.
And there's his
Yes,
mate
Simon
Charlie Ward and the
Charlie.
gang. Yes. No, that's just one picture, of all the crap that because he does speak about the fake, Nesara, Gesara business, all right? But he is basically somebody that uses, shall we say, these fictitious embellishments to make out that he's doing something for humanity, and he incorporates, get this, he incorporates the ETs, like the double oneness. You'll hear the double oneness throughout it, right? You'll be like, yeah, that comes from her, that comes from her, that comes from her, right? Especially when he starts talking about the NDAs, right, that he signed. Again, they all seem to have an NDA, you know that?
There's always a reason. There's always a reason why I can't name my source. Or what I love is I've talked to or I've heard from several inside sources.
Yes. Now, do you want to read that? That's my little chart there.
Gag order, NDA, non-disclosure agreement, delay tactics. That's another method they use. Claim to have inside contacts. There you go. Mix facts with fiction. FOMO, fear of missing out. Yeah, that's what they prey on. And fear of missing out, or I'm not going to get what I want, or I'm going to starve, or what have. Use their echo chamber of grifters and con artists to give validity to their claims. Yeah,
and this is the thing that he uses, the reevaluation business. And he said to President Trump that he's the one that's setting it up. I got him saying it. It's funny, D. Read that one.
Okay. Dong dinar dollars equal awaiting for the value to increase of a low rate currency equals profits equals riches. Zim
this is the one he was speaking about.
That's what, okay. Zim scam equals humanity. Goodness equals humanitarian projects. Victims guard down. Think con artist is their help. Is
to
there
help them
to help
in
humanity. Monetization, subscriptions, and sell their wares.
Does it make sense?
Yeah. And that's
so basically, what he's doing is he's using this business over here to make out that he's doing something good for humanity. That's exactly what Charlie Ward does, right? And all the rest of them. So they're telling you that it's going to come to a point where you're going to be tested by some ETs, right? And those ETs are going to know your heart and whether your projects are going to, come true or not. Now, the Zimbabwe scam is the Zimbabwe dollars that are, $1 trillion notes, whatever they are, huge notes, $1 billion, whatever. And they're saying that you can redeem those to do your humanitarian projects. And that's basically a way of them saying, yeah, keep following us. We're going to tell you where to go, where's the redemption centers, all these sort of things, what's going on. That's the monetization. So by you following them is increasing their following, which means you're monetizing them. They're getting more money. Right. And I'm talking about millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars.
Right.
Let's see their P&L report. I want to see their balance sheet. I want to see,
yes,
if they're supporting humanitarian projects, which ones? Where's the progress?
Yeah, no, the only humanitarian projects they're supporting is their pockets.
I'm going to ask for the proof.
Well, no, that's the thing. Anyone that asks for proof from these, and you'll see with Simon Parks that this lady asked for some proof, right? And she was gaslit. Right? He made her feel bad, and then at the end, she apologized to him for gaslighting him in the first place. Can you believe this crap? Seriously.
It's terrible.
And then you think about it, what they do is they get the monetization. Then they want to be the people want to be, fear of missing out. I need to know before everybody else does, because in the NDA, how it works is like this. Apparently the NDAs include that they can give more information when you pay a subscription fee. That's part of the NDA, right? Now, he's apparently, the way they operate is monetization. So the more you watch them, the more bullshit you get from them, the more richer they get, right? Yeah. He allows them to sell their wares, right? To sell their subscriptions and everything else in between. That's how it works. You get what I'm saying, Dee?
Oh yeah. I mean that's how it's done. You more people advertise, and you get more subscriptions, which makes more people want to advertise on your channel. Yeah, I understand it fully. It's it just boggles the mind that that's allowed to go on, and then they want to say, okay, well, freedom of speech. I know the social media companies, they don't want to internally censor or appear to censor, and they're going to go with whatever's making them the most money. And the internet and social media has always been a buyer beware world. Okay, you have to go at it with some discernment, and you have to check into where you're sending your money. I don't know. I work pretty hard for my money. And so if I'm going to send it to someone, I know what I'm getting. So
we know what they've been shoveling in people's faces, which is a bunch of bullshit. So I decided to prepare a video, Dee, for everyone to watch. How about we all watch it together and we can talk about it after? What do you think?
Okay, sounds good. Go ahead.
Here we go, guys. Enjoy the show.
There are a number of individuals and organizations throughout the planet that have been approached to play a role in rolling out or delivering projects. I'm very honored that I have been approached, and if I'm approached, that means, and I can speak personally from the experiences I've had, if I sat around a table with non-human entities, or non-helpful entities seek to control without permission, and good entities ask permission, but even at that level they don't ask permission, groups or federations or just groups of, that's when we got the embargo on the earth. Portals were shut down, very difficult for lower fourth dimensional entities to get in or out. We took a very big step to neutralize the Hadron Collider, which is recorded in mainstream news. It did shut down for the 3 or 4 minutes that we did our work on it. Communication between the American military predominantly and off-planet entities was after Obama left office, there was an overall channel that Trump created. And you have people like Vladimir Putin, Modi of India, Xi Jinping of China, who are the lead group on the earth, who are connecting with their appointed representatives off this planet.
Simon, you've been taken off planet. I don't know if I'm allowed to.
I think Carol, my PA, tried to explain, and there was, I think, a bit of a difficulty, is that I'm very happy to answer any question that you put to me. But some of the images you wanted an image of a mantid or a mantis. And as I say, at the moment, that's off books until the house is settled and all the rest of it. But I can take any questions you want.
Let's just leave that aside.
No, you can talk about anything you want. What I'm saying is, I couldn't allow the picture. I couldn't allow the picture. I couldn't allow the picture of myself associated that at that time. But
I understand.
Because pictures pay $1,000. But whatever questions your audience have, I'm very happy to take that.
Yeah.
Won't shy away.
I apologize.
I know a mathematician might receive some fantastic download at night, especially from the Palladians. The Pentagon holds quite a large number of patents. There will be a direct release of these special patents through the corporations. There will be, in terms of med beds and other technical advancements, which will not be released to the corporations, but will be run specifically by the military, although it will be franchised out. I do believe that there will be a set series of banks which will give the bank rate. I have always been told that I am the approved individual. I have signed a number of NDAs. Custodians of the artifacts are the Knights Templars. The wealth I've always called Solomon's gold. The wealth that is to be redistributed to the human race I've always referred to as Solomon's gold. Found its way into modern day Asia. And fortunately, the custodians of that wealth now also hold to that view that this is not their wealth. They hold it in trust. I'm not going to name names. There are individuals who are reviled on social media in the banking world, absolutely reviled. I can tell you they've sat around with President Trump and they are going to be empowered to deliver the RV. And so what we've been given is a machine, a device, which can predict very clearly the future. And you need Starlink to play a part in that, in the way it will interact with humanity, not by running the lives of humans, not by taking over the way they do things, but providing humanity with a safe and secure technology that the cabal or anybody could not hack into. It is a vital component for a 1,000 year of peace across the planet. Because at the end of the day, I am using an AI to communicate with people. Jesus in his day couldn't do that. And a third world war is not on the cards. The boss can pick the phone up at any time, and within 20 minutes, the war in Ukraine will stop and the war in Israel will stop. Now, whether he'll do that now or he'll wait for inauguration, I'm not privy to that knowledge.
Yeah, well, you read my mind about Putin getting help from the Galactics, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'd had a Skype with Putin. I've actually had a Skype. It wasn't very long, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. I'd had a chat with the ambassador for the Chinese elders in 2015, who informed me of the RV and said they'd been watching me, etc., etc. And then as part of all the conversations that occurred, I had a chat with Putin. And, it was obvious that a number of beneficial non-human entities were advising Putin, because at the time...
I want to know about the dragon family. Would you tell us more about that? Are they the ones who hold the world's wealth, apart from the relevant...
I'm not going to... I'm not going to go into huge detail. So the dragon families are holding Solomon's wealth and are working very closely with the good guys, and they are absolutely determined to better all of humanity. Some of them are really indigenous. Some of them connect to the Buddha. Some they're all different groups who have put themselves together.
All right. Enough. All right, enough. I'd had enough of him after about 2-3 minutes.
My point is this. I mean, how much bullshit can someone eat?
Well, here's I'm as usual, I'm going to lay some critical thinking on this. If you have that kind of NDA going on, why are you broadcasting it to the world? That just that doesn't jive. If you're a recipient of all this special information and all these special powers and that kind of stuff, no, doesn't fly.
You could see the double oneness throughout that tapestry right there.
Mhm.
The NDAs was one major telltale sign. The other one was to do with the dragon families and all that sort of business. That was Herb doing again, right? There was the killer as well, was Putin.
Yeah.
That he apparently Skyped with Putin for 15 minutes.
Well, if he thinks President Trump will be mad at him, what do you think Putin's? I don't think he's taking too kindly to that.
But then he gaslit that lady.
I felt a little sorry for her.
I felt sorry for her because she ended up apologizing to the grifter. And then,
called for.
To make matters worse, President Trump set up a channel in order to bring in the RV.
Yeah, and so like I said, once again, if you're privy to that kind of information, you are not on a channel putting it out to the public. Okay, if you have, there's no need to do that other than you want to make money off of it.
I mean, it was just, and that's what I called it. No facts, only fiction. You know what I mean? Because that's what it was, D. Let's be honest.
That's right. Yeah,
and that's what they do. I mean, when is someone going to grow the balls, pardon my French, and really say to them, hold on a minute, you're making all these claims. And it's like they're like a bunch of school kids and they're believing the fairy tales. They're all, when the teacher used to sit there and talk fairy tales and read it, and the kids used to get excited like that. That's exactly what the same scenario we're in right now, unfortunately. Right. That he's going around spreading all the fiction about the RV, the fake Nesara, and all the other crap. And then everyone's eating it up. I don't get it. They're taking it for axiom. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, we're those people. we're the ones that are going to bring the truth and some clarity to the situation. And,
please.
Show, and in Harvey's book, I mean, it's clear as day.
Sorry, that had, you know what? The only way you're going to beat these grifters is to expose them, and that's why we do one of them like that each segment. Yeah,
one at a time, and we keep at it. We keep at it, and keep sharing, keep talking to people. If social media gives us a problem, like FCB was talking about with numbers and likes and comments and that type of stuff.
Yes,
we work harder. We go to ground game. On the website this week, I'm going to be putting out the flyers that we'll show some of them tonight, and I think one of them's already up on the Facebook page. Look, guys, print those things out, pass them out. There's no need to keep this in the shadows. Okay, you're bringing the truth out about a serious proposed policy that can return this country to a fair monetary and fiscal policy system. And there's no reason to, like I always say, stand in darkened corners and shoo about it. We need to bring it out in the light.
Correct. Now, do you want to? You tell me what to do. I've got the slides ready to go, love.
Right? Okay, you ready? All right.
Well, I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's talk about chapter 8. This is a great chapter, guys, and I'm going to be doing a lot of reading from my notes, and then I'll tell you can just pull up that outline whenever you're ready.
Yes.
And
getting it all sorted for you right here. Oops.
Okay. Ready. Okay. Chapter 8 is to talk of many things, living in interesting times. What Harvey, this is where we're going to find out about how the swamp was formed. Okay. And he lays out a lot of concepts here. And one of the first ones is the cause of the decay. Now, every law that they make or policy that they make that works or doesn't work, okay, it either does or it doesn't. If it doesn't, then they come along later and they put another policy on top of it, like a Band-Aid. And this just continues to grow and grow. Every law that is shaped by unintended consequences of earlier ones, intended or unintended consequences of previous laws. Economics and politics are directly related and a result of human psychology and biology. So in making policies, you have to consider those things, human psychology and of course how people are, made up. What we live in is a democratic, you can scroll down. I'm on number 2. Democratic socialism promises versus reality. We live in a democratic socialist country. I'm sorry. And it's been that way for a long time. Here we go. Misguided government policies via monetary and fiscal policies aimed at social engineering eventually eroded personal responsibility. So that's what he's talking about in the first part of the chapter. And you remember in the beginning when we talked about utopia? Okay. Leaders wanted to create a social utopia for the country. Okay. And they did this by attempting to enact policies through debt financing. Okay. And we're going to get into the particulars of that. So this has just multiplied and snowballed over the years. The desire to legislate morality and or foster responsibility, responsible behavior and moral societies. The outcome was far from what they intended. Here's the thing. You cannot legislate morality. Okay. That is something that is innate within each human being. Okay. But they begin to look at things and say, well, this is fair. This is not fair. And they wanted to structure it equally for everybody. Their method to obtain this utopia was attempted using debt financing. Debt financing gives the illusion of prosperity, but accumulates long-term economic debt. This created dependency and reduced personal responsibility. Okay, so let's see where I'm. Yep, you're right with me. Okay. Okay. While the introduction of the policies worked for a time, as exhibited by the expansion of the welfare policies after World War II. Remember, we talked about after World War II, America was, feeling good about itself, and we're going to save the world, and we're going to be the world's policeman, and that kind of stuff. So that was the feeling. America was at the top of its game. And naturally, the population embraced this concept of deficit spending. Okay. So when presented with these social programs, the people in the country, of course, you had politicians that were good salesmen, but the people said, sure, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, we have to borrow money to do it or whatever. Sure, that's fine, because they were told by the time the bill came due, somebody else would be paying for it.
You know what I call that? Kicking the can down the road.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it gets deeper and deeper. So, this is after World War II now. This, in addition to making things or attempting to make things fair, eroded personal responsibility, right? Because now you have the government taking care of things for you. Okay. So go on to section 3, number 3 there. Okay. Erosion of individual responsibilities and traditional institutions. The creation of blanket social laws disintegrates the connection between traditional family and community and national connections. It removes the responsibility of the individual. A citizen deprived of their natural right, which has now been replaced by a social engineering law, gather in groups that span everything from gangs to special interest groups in hopes to get their piece of the pie. Their want escalates from desired needs to government-granted civil rights. Now, what basically Harvey is saying here is that if I don't have the means or ability to exercise my natural rights, I'm going to join together in a group, and maybe together we will be able to do so, right? Yeah, this can be, we'll bring it down to some modern day examples.
Strength in numbers, really, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And so people join groups. And so this redistribution of the wealth is what they're doing, right? And so it gives the illusion of fairness. Human satisfaction is derived from the ownership or use of wealth. Remember, we talked last week or the week before about wealth. Okay, the item. Okay, remember I had the scissors and the stapler and that kind of stuff. Okay, so if they're deprived of the ownership for many reasons of wealth, then that's what I said, that's when they go looking for the groups. Now, the problem comes in is that government cannot determine utility. Okay, what I mean by utility is it's different for everybody. Let me, I'll give you an example, just a lifetime example. My husband loves to barbecue. Okay, so he's got the barbecue pit and he's got all the fancy stuff, and that's his expression of wealth, and he's, wonderful. My neighbor doesn't really like, I don't really barbecues or not, but he has a pool and he likes the pool and he does all of that kind of stuff. So wealth utility is different for every person. You see what I'm saying?
People measure wealth differently. It's unto the individual, basically, what they like. So,
yeah.
Got you. Yeah.
Yeah. So legislators, they're unable to judge utility fairly, okay, because it's different for everybody. So to satisfy their utopian ideals, they had to divide things equally or on an individual basis. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump to page 281 in the paperback, and I think that is 272 in the Kindle. I don't think I put it on the outline, but I'm just going to read.
No. Okay. Yep.
Contrary to popular beliefs of some, this was not a communist or socialist conspiracy. What he's referring to there is the development of these rules, okay? These policies. I'm going to say that again. This was not a communist or socialist conspiracy, but the logical outcome of philosophical error. The ethical idea of equal treatment under rational law rooted in religious teachings and the American Constitution was inappropriately extended to include equitable distribution of natural wealth. Government assumed this task by popular request, attempting its enforcement through formulation of public policy. So you see what I'm saying there, FC? They assume this task, but they inappropriately extended their control. Okay. Because he clearly says here, rooted in religious teachings and the American Constitution, inappropriately extended to include equitable distribution. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
equitable distribution meaning, okay, give me an example.
Equitable distribution, legal plunder, your taxes.
Okay.
We go back to the legal plunder thing where they're taking your money, it goes up there, they decide what it's spent on. Okay. And equitable distribution, equitable, we're gonna, this is fair, everybody needs a lollipop. Okay. So, and those are their decisions.
Yes.
So that's what I'm referring to. They accomplished this through monetary policy. They taxed, and which is what we just said, they taxed, remember the legal plunder, our production, which is our work, to subsidize utopian ideas, which are welfare and Social Security. Now, Social Security was originally sold to the American people as an insurance or retirement policy. Now, we know that has long since not been the case. They're still honoring it, but it's, that was a ruse. This forced individuals to forego purchasing products. Okay, you're taking money out of my taxes, or, out of my check, so I don't have the money to buy whatever it is. Lack of funds, thereby reducing the country's overall productivity. So we're not going to produce what people can't buy because they don't have any money. Okay.
Agreed. So in other words, you need, obviously people need to have money to be able to buy. Otherwise, that basically stalls the economy as well.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. It directed capital investment in the private sector. Now, this is important. It directed capital investment in the private sector, that's corporations, towards social programs. Okay, think about it. The latest example, DEI. It also used monetary policies to hide social agenda failures, what we talked about in the beginning. If something didn't work, they just slapped another Band-Aid on it. They didn't go back and say, oh, this is not working. We're just going to tweak this a little bit this way. And, oh, we don't have any money for that? Oh, we'll go put it on the credit card. Or go print some money, right?
Sorry.
Charge it, as they say. MasterCard, charge it.
Kick the can down the road for the others as well.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's going to accumulate, and that's where it really gets interesting after we get to the accumulation. But here on page 282 in the paperback, 273 in the Kindle. Let's see. Okay, this is where it comes from. Everybody, pay attention. With ever expanding debt, finally overwhelming finite amounts of available labor and materials, the shortcut to utopia ended in a swamp.
Yep.
Okay, so that he says that early in the chapter, and I'm
Yeah,
going to go on to
yes.
explain, a little bit
Yes.
more about that. But the shortcut to utopia ended in a swamp. That's what we're talking about. So, now, so yeah, back to the lack of productivity. America went through a period of time where they had we had a decline of industrial manufacturing in companies, that kind of thing. America starts to resemble, and here's another one for you on page 283. America starts to resemble a banana republic, Harvey says, an unequal society hidden to some extent behind massive amounts of debt. It's on 283 in the paperback, 273 in the Kindle. So companies went from using foreign products in their manufacturing to moving out of the country altogether, right? If you go to that timeline that I
right here,
sent, jump on that. We're going to touch on that. It's very interesting. I think people who are certainly affected by this will recognize it immediately. High-paying jobs, heavy industry from the 1970s to the 1990s gave way to low-paying jobs that do not provide real productivity. Corporate downsizing. Okay, so yeah, here it is. So just I'm going to read some of these to you guys. Between the 1970s and the 1990s, here's some of the companies that left. Youngstown Sheet and Tube, RCA, Singer Manufacturing, Westinghouse Electric, Bethlehem Steel, General Motors, AC Sparkplug, Cone Mills, Firestone Tire and Rubber.
So they went to Japan.
Oh yeah, Zenith Electronics, Levi Strauss, General Electric. So, but at the very bottom of this is really kind of what I find fascinating. Go to key takeaways there. Okay. In the 1970s, steel collapsed. Consumer electronics first wave of offshoring. In the 1980s, textiles, apparel, and appliances migrate to Mexico. 1990s, NAFTA acceleration, loss of auto, electronics, apparel, and industries. Outcome, by the late 1990s, the U.S. had lost huge swaths of its heavy industry, leaving behind the Rust Belt and a service/finance-oriented economy.
Okay, so in the 1970s, okay, the very fundamental. I mean, we're talking about steel here. Steel is what makes the country, right?
That's right.
So think about this. In the 1970s, wasn't it? What's his name? Wasn't it Jimmy Carter?
70s, late 70s.
I think wasn't it Jimmy? It was Jimmy.
Yeah, late 70s. I think so.
So a lot of things happened when Jimmy was around. Okay, like he gave away the Panama Canal and all this other. This has been an ongoing process. What I can see, D, is they've had it in for America for a long time, right? To weaken America from within. Right? This is what JFK said: infiltration, not invasion. So they've been eroding America. Now it makes perfect sense when they would start with the steel.
Well, yeah, and because that's the strength of what, to build your infrastructure, right?
I've proven Jimmy's no good. You seen what Jimmy gave his daughter, a little Ouija board. Jimmy's not a good man.
But I noticed in the 1980s, the textile industries, I remember I think it was probably mid to late 80s, and you couldn't buy American-made towels or sheets anymore. I think that's starting to make a comeback. A few of these things, if you'll notice, President Trump is rolling this stuff back in, okay? And this is why, okay? Because through these bad monetary policies, these companies had no choice but to leave, right? because the playing field was set against them.
Well, it's a national security threat too. Think about it. What they've been
that's true.
doing is a national security threat. They've been weakening America from within. So steel is very important, as President Trump said. He had to get the steel industry back in. Very, very fundamental, because they were selling inferior steel. And who's the one, as President Trump says, it's the one behind the desk. He blames the presence behind the desk, right? And he had every right to, because you know what? They have been weakening America from. It's an ongoing process. It had been an ongoing process. They knew what they were doing, and these companies, they have no loyalty, none whatsoever.
Well, no. And a company is going to go where the money is for them. I mean, I can't fault that company. Like we talked about the right.
No, I'll be honest. I do fault the company, and I'll tell you why. Sorry, I'm a patriot like you are, right? I fault them because it's all about corporate greed. That's what it comes down to. How much more money can we make? You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about, corporate greed. And they did it, and they had the blessings of those behind the desk that did it as well. Now, President Trump is regaining back the steel industry. Now we're living in a different era as well to what, with Harvey. I mean, look, we're dealing with more electronics, chips, and all. I mean, look, Harvey
the
was around with
electronics
chips and
was
all that.
part. Excuse me, electronics was one of the things that left. But at this time, like I said, it's more than the person behind the desk, and it's like I said, when you own a company and you can't, no one's buying your products because they don't have the money, because they're being taxed or for social programs, right? Then you can't operate in the red for forever. You have to make those decisions, and that's just a good business decision. So it's not all, and
So you're saying it's fiscal monetary policies that they were producing.
That's what I'm saying. These monetary policies that they are producing, not only the taxes, but the ever-ending social utopia programs that they're pumping out that require more and more funding, are weakening the average citizen's ability to work and purchase. You see, because not only can they not purchase these goods, but as these companies leave, then the high-paying jobs went with them. And so now America is left with low-wage service industry jobs. Okay? And I want to show you, we keep going down the line here, but it's the rot is fundamental. It's at the core of their policies. And as I'm going to show you, this is not a left-right issue. They're both at fault here, and we'll look at that.
Oh, yeah, Can I bring up that slide?
Which one?
The one that I did for you. Oh, I got this one here. The one you said that Harvey would like.
Okay. Oh yes, yeah. That's the it's right, it's left, the left-right fault. Yeah, the illusion of democracy, and that's exactly what we're talking about it when we're saying in the beginning, democratic socialism, and because the founding principles were misapplied philosophically.
Now I've got something to throw your way regarding this. Okay, now let's look at it. Like, obviously, this has been an ongoing process. It's not something that it's happened overnight. It's been an ongoing process for a while now. Now, think about this. They've been not only weakening the industry or the industries within America, but also they've been weakening the people with with all the foods, the water, the disgusting filth they've been doing, and they've been creating a nation of sick people. Right? Now you think about it, can these people go and be productive and work? They can't, can they?
No, they can't.
You see where this is like how it works, like how people are sick, they're this, they're that. How are they going to work? How are they going to be productive if they've got these issues to deal with?
Correct.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
I do know where you're going with that.
Yeah, and then
I think I know how that happens when we get to the end, because as again, to your argument, not only the desire to bring America down to its knees, but the ability to make high corporate profits, that comes in with these monetary policies. And when I'll tell you, they get stuck like Chuck.
Sure.
But no, you're right. You're right. People can't, they can't.
How are you going to? This is the problem. I mean, you think about it. I mean, there's more people on Social Security and things like that because, number one, okay, they work us to the bone, right? They do. Okay, that creates more stress, more, we become a society of more again, right? And then also they feed us with all the garbage that you could possibly imagine. No wonder it's a miracle why we're still alive, to be quite honest, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people that are on Social Security and all that because they can't work because they're sick. You know what I mean?
Right. So
an increase in mental illnesses, and that's all got to do with big pharma again, right? With food and whatever we eat. It's basically, how can I say, it's been an ongoing process. I could see it.
Yeah.
It's been done by design, I would say that as well.
And yes, I believe there are many portions of it that have been done by design. And why do we working ourselves to death? What did we talk about last week? You have low wage service industry jobs. So you have the mom, the dad, the oldest kid working, maybe this, and because that's what it takes to even barely make ends meet. Why is that? Bad monetary and fiscal policies that allow the high-paying jobs to leave. And this is what you're left with. And now we're facing, a whole new monster with AI taking people's jobs.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, AI people's jobs, or
it's already happened.
Yeah, corporate downsizing, all this kind of stuff. And so it gets worse and worse. But it all stems back to the same thing. Philosophical error of them exacting, what America was supposed to be. And they got it, we want to make a utopia for everybody. We want to make it nice. And, and boom, 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 boom. It's been a disaster since.
Everything that happens in America affects the Western world.
Yeah,
it affects everyone, right? It does. Yeah. It's a ripple effect, right?
Absolutely.
So I'll never forget back in the day where we used to have industry here in Australia, like America did. We had Nilex, we had all these different companies that were producing barter shoes, all that sort of stuff, right? All these different companies, right? Made, now even Ford, right? Now you got Ford in America. That comes from you guys, right? So we had Ford here, we had Holden, which is GMH over there, right? Is that what you call it, GMH or
GMC? Is that
yeah, something along those lines? It was.
Are you talking about Chevys? GMC Chevy?
No. It was Holden. We call them Holdens here. Okay. Over there, they're called something else. It's on the tip of my tongue, but anyway, they're American companies.
No.
Ford is Ford, right? We know Ford's right. Now you think about it, they actually all left, right? They all left. And they've been doing everything overseas. And it was I remember back in the day with growing up, I could see the push going across overseas. They were leaving Australia, like they were leaving America, and they were all going over there, right? Now, what was the cause? It's because basically, as you said, this is all a way of weakening the Western world or Western society. And it was basically, how can I say, done by design, and our leaders are responsible for it. They allowed it to happen rather than stimulate shall we say, stimulate the industry and keep the industry here like they would over there. They didn't choose to do that because they all paid off. I am telling you, these people were being paid off.
Yeah, I will show you how.
General Motors Corporation, that's it.
Oh, General Motors. I knew somebody would know.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the one.
General Motors.
General Motors, yeah.
Yeah.
We call General Motors Holden here.
Okay.
That's General Motors, yeah.
Cool. Okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know you had this over there.
Sorry, keep going.
Okay, so let's see if I had another note here for something else out of the book before I move on.
We used to call Ford found on rubbish dump.
Yeah. Wait. Absolutely. Yeah, everybody has a Ford and
It's like you're one or the other.
yeah. If you're a Ford fan, you say first on race day. Because we have NASCAR racing over here. I don't even know if they race Fords anymore.
We have races here as well.
Do you?
Yeah, we got races. Car shows and the whole box and dice, so to speak.
Okay, I'm just checking to see.
Look at that.
Okay. So
psychological road dead.
Yes, I've heard that one too. I've heard that one too. So, so it used to be. I don't know anymore, but it used to be a big thing here. Ford or Chevy, and that was it.
Yeah.
If you were a Ford person, you were a Ford person for life. If you were a Chevy person, you were a Chevy person for life, and that's just the way it was. So.
My dad was into Cadillacs. He bought American Cadillacs. Oh yeah, it was full on. He had convertibles. He had the whole box and dice back in the day. He was into also the Chargers as well. Did you guys have the Chargers back then?
Yeah, we actually Harvey and Jean had a Charger. I can't remember the year, but it had a 410 in it. That was back in the 60s, and I love the old American cars. It was a mean machine. It would go.
Yeah, I love them. But you know what? They were so easy to fix. I remember my dad open up the hood, bang, change the spark plug right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no computer chips or anything like that.
None of that garbage. No. It was solid, quality. He had the Bedford van as well going on. Yeah. He was into American cars. He loved them.
Yeah.
So I've been around American cars all my life.
I'll tell you a quick story about our Charger. Now, this is how good, heavy these cars were. My mom and I was a little girl. We were coming home. Now, where we lived at the time, it was kind of a dark country road to get to, and there was a railroad track. This was before they put the guardrails on it, the blinking lights and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We're going down this road, and evidently the train did not have the light on. Cross the railroad tracks, okay? The train hit the back end of that Charger. This was a full-size Charger, long back end. Spun us around completely in the air, landed back on the road, going straight. Now, my mom was a good driver. She's heavy on that, that accelerator. Wow. Landed straight. She kept going, and then she stopped. And she said, you know how people do. Even if you're driving somebody with seatbelt on, you're going to grab them like this and go, "Oh my God, are you okay?" Drove home. And the only thing, now this is a train, okay? There was a big dent in the back right side.
Those cars were built.
Didn't hurt. Just built solid. So we're back to the steel. That's.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at the cars they make today. You fart on it and it bloody crumbles up.
And they just fall apart out of plastic and aluminum and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, my dad also had an F100. He used to drive that, V8 F100s. Yeah, beautiful cars.
Oh, right.
Or truck. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a truck. Yeah, that's a truck.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yep. Let's go.
Psychological and social consequences of socialism and the failure of the system. Okay, I'm going to read this to you. Expansion of government programs worsen dependency. Daycare centers, job training for non-existent job, tax incentives that distorted markets further. Working people grew weary and became unproductive. This is what we've been talking about.
Yep.
This leads to politicians adding more of the same social corrections through monetary policy. Welfare recipients feel they will always be part of the underclass. Cars are fed up with the legal plunder. Citizens are fed up with the legal plunder of their labor and wages. The need grows ever larger. Citizens lose faith in government promises. And citizens refuse to cooperate with an unworkable system. So that was just a summary of that little section in the chapter. But just what we were talking about. People get disgruntled and they say, it's a sense of hopelessness. I'm always going to be at this level. I'm never going to get ahead. And so they just stop trying. He refers to the collapse of the Soviet Union, of social economics worldwide and failed centered planning experiments. It's another example where it just didn't work. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's just what I read. So the psychological effects of this, cumulatively, you think this has been going on for generations. So now people are just, this is the way it is, and it's always going to be that way.
Yes.
The next section down, changing the rules, political stalemate, and failed reform. So over the years, the politicians have attempted to, put some fixes on or change things, and it got pretty interesting. The political system cannot solve systemic problems under the existing rules. So see, they're still playing by the same policies and system that they always have been. Okay? Our political and economic institutions have become paralyzed by rigid rules and outdated thinking, offering complicated answers to questions that are actually quite simple. The truth is that unemployment and low incomes are driven less by poor education or personal failings and more by misguided government philosophies and policies. That's just what we were saying. People get fed up and they're not going to try anymore. America today is technically bankrupt. Our once world-leading wealth in automobiles, electronics, and high-tech products have been eroded. For decades, both parties have offered incomplete solutions. Democrats expanding social programs and entitlements, Republicans pushing tax cuts, yet neither addressing the root causes of our decline. Socialism's utopia proved unattainable, but the illusion was sustained for a time through the expansion of debt. That debt burden became a permanent anchor, creating recessions and shallow recoveries mislabeled as the business cycle. From the 1970s to the 1990s, debt has disguised the failures of policy, but in reality, it has only deepened the swamp that we now find ourselves in. All right? So that kind of sums up what we were talking about. Now, in 1994 midterm elections, the Republicans swept that. Right? Clinton campaigned and he promised to end welfare as we know it, which he failed to do. So at that midterm, the voters voted the Democrats out, voted the Republicans in. And also, actually, it was a pretty historical vote. 1994 Republican Revolution, GOP gains control of House after 40 years. Senate, 18 out of 60 years. Republicans promised an opportunity society to replace the welfare state. And that's when Gingrich rose to the Speaker of the House. Now, Newt Gingrich and Dick Armey, I think it was, developed what we call the Contract with America. Some people may remember that. And these reforms, there were some good things, but there was also some loopholes as well.
Yeah, there always is, you know what I mean?
There was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there were some positive things that the Republicans did. They were unfunding national mandates. They had a line item veto. They also initiated the Sunshine Rules, which was making more of these backdoor meetings, open to the public. And they strengthened parents' rights to supervise their children. They wanted to maintain a strong national defense, mandatory sentences for certain crimes, and some common sense reforms for the legal system. However, this is where it went south. Balance the Budget Amendment was flawed with loopholes, only applied to the formal budget document, not to the operating document. And we still have this debate going on now. We're going to balance the budget. Well, that's on the formal budget document, which can be changed, to suit whatever you want. It's not exactly the operating budget, which is the real cost and real income. So, and this also, it could be abandoned. Their plan could be abandoned in any crisis if necessary, if their noble objections fail their execution. So, it's smoke and mirrors. They said they're going to do something.
It's like anything else. I mean, the illusion of democracy, it's smoke and mirrors as well. It all
is. And the thing is, all of the dissent we have, especially, it's so prevalent now. The right versus left, or whatever issue it is, the bathrooms, or the medicine, all that kind of stuff. It's controlled dissent. And they look out the window and they say, "Oh yeah, the kids they're still skirmishing in the yard, Yeah, they're fine. They're okay. Yeah. Oh, it's your turn. Okay, you go out there and throw the football with them, and then we'll swap out with you. You know, it's just this whole thing.
You know what's funny? I mean, look, how they operate is like this. They, when they get together, like Congress, they sit there. Even the same thing in Parliament, right? Where it's the same thing, right? They get together and they have it on. So basically, they, take the living piss out of each other, right? And then at the end of the day, they go to the cafeteria and they're sitting there sharing sandwiches. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you why in the end. So I'll tell you why they do.
You know what I'm saying? It's all an illusion for us that they're sitting there left to right, the right to left, and then they get together, behind the scenes, and they're having a beer. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is, and it's lack of courage in my mind, but I'll explain.
Sure.
Okay, partisan illusions of change. Democrats believe in entitlements, retraining, education schemes, whereas Republicans believe in tax cuts and smaller government. They both believe that, but here's the thing. They both believe that government should be the agent of social change, but their remedies are superficial at best. So that's just what you were saying, FC. They're both on the same team. And they just, like I said, they keep moving the ball, but they're not really doing anything. Now, when all that stuff happened with Newt Gingrich, Alan Greenspan, yes, he put out warnings regarding the budget balance and debt, and he said changing the name of the budget will not change the markets. No, so. Now they did have, this was a funny thing, and I remember this, I really do, very vaguely, but it was the debt buyback plan. It was a job creation and wage enhancement act that allowed taxpayers to redirect up to 10% of liability to debt reduction. A voluntary commitment by taxpayers that were already strapped.
Hold on a minute. Did you say debt buyback plan?
Yeah, listen to the plan.
In other words,
yeah.
They're telling the taxpayer to buy back the debt? Is that what it is?
Yeah, this was the plan. It was the job creation and wage enhancement. No, listen. Allowed taxpayers to redirect up to 10% of liability to debt reduction. A volunteer commitment by taxpayers who are already strapped. The calculations of this showed is that even if everybody, did 100% participation, $60 billion a year versus the $5 trillion debt, which was when Harvey, wrote this.
Sure.
It would take 83 plus years to repay the U.S. debt. In addition, now here's the addition: bondholders, of course, they're paying themselves back. And what happens to the money that the people the people
Carol.
of 10% like the church?
Carol,
I love it.
Tithings. It's like the tithings.
That is funny. That's funny.
Because you know what tithings means? 10%, right?
Oh yeah. That's I think that's a universal thing. So but okay, so your bondholders are getting paid back, but there are people, like I said, Americans and people around the world generally, we want to take care of those who really need it. So this whole plan would actually, take away from those. So it was, pretty funny. Certainly not long lived. Now,
it's hilarious, actually.
It is. So this is what it boils down to here. Eventually, most of the public, now this is a quote from the book on 284 in the paperback and 271 in the Kindle. Eventually, most of the public, I probably have that in blue up there. Most of the public and their political leaders reach a general agreement to drain the swamp. The difficulty, there's nowhere for the water to go. Human nature being the given, the public will not stand for the required sacrifice. Ingenuity offers the best hope for finding a solution to the nation's problem. The problem lies in that the task cannot be accomplished under the current rules. The public will not stand for sacrifice. Require. The solution is the new plan. Now, here's where we get to what I was going to tell you. They know that. Okay, they know that they can't get out of it. Neither will admit the legal tinkering that they've done all these years will not solve the Americans' problem. The swamp shifts from Democrat to Republican hands, but still not drained. This answers an age-old question that I've had. Okay, so I always said, what happens to them when they go to Washington? They were a great guy, they're a great girl, and boom. Okay, so they
become corrupt. That's what.
Well, yeah, but wait a minute. Think about it this way: they're a good guy, good girl. They get up, they go to Washington, they cross that line, and they suddenly understand that the monetary and fiscal policies that have been set up don't work, and nobody is going to say so, right? Because it would, the suffering it would cause to change this. You talk about pulling the rug out of everybody. And so they just keep dancing along, and they'll probably say, well, you know what? I get it. I'm in the club now. And so this, we're stuck like Chuck. We can't do anything. So I'm just going to take money from this special interest and this cause and that cause, and I'll get mine, and we'll let the next group worry about this.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? It's the policies themselves. So as the system goes, it cannot last the way it is, right? But nobody wants to say that.
To me, it sounds like baggage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just leave the baggage for the next lot to sort out,
And it's been that way over and over and over. Without changing the actual system and fiscal policies, it's not going to change. So instead of doing that, they keep putting these patches on over and over and over, and it's just going further down the hill. Now, what the smart thing to do would be, the system is going to come to a screeching halt. That's inevitable. It cannot continue the way it is. Yeah. Why not have a plan already laid out, ready to go? Like I said, here you go. Down to who does what, where, when, and why, what pencil goes where exactly, that we've discussed and we have ready to roll. That's the honorable thing to do. But so far, no takers, other until President Trump, and I think that he's making progress in that area.
He's doing a lot of progress, especially, look, he's bringing back industry because it's necessary, right? Yes. You can see that what they've been doing for a long time. He says this is not something that they've been doing just now or whatever. They've been doing it for a long time. You see, back in the day of Jimmy, that's why he said about he said about Jimmy, how bad he is and all that. And all those behind the desk have been responsible out of stupidity or corruption. He said it, right? One or the other, okay, in allowing this to continue. Now, China has basically taken advantage, right? They've had all the industry over there. We've become dependent on that. And basically, it's weakened our economy and it's weakened our countries. It really has, right? You can see what's going on.
Exactly.
Now, President Trump is about fair game, fair leveling the playing field. And you know what? We've been running on a system of fiat currency, which is backed by debt, right? It's just a bunch of rubbish, and it's been designed to fail. That's what it is. Designed to fail and to keep us in a state of debt slavery. President Trump wants to take it down, the whole thing, and you can see it. He's doing it deliberately. So he keeps exposing the Fed for a reason. He does it for a reason. And he shows all the different rates around the world. Why does Switzerland have the lowest rate of 0.25%? Because you know why? Because that's where all the debauchery is. That's where, they say, this is neutral. No, that's where you find the puppet master over there, right? They say Swiss accounts and all that. Why?
Right,
because
yes.
They've got the best of everything. In fact, they've got, nuclear bunkers. Each of one of their citizens has a bunk, actually a bunk bed, has provisions in these nuclear bunkers. Each one of them. What
That's
about
wild. Yeah,
I've done my research. Don't you worry about that, right?
that's interesting. That's
Now,
interesting.
you think about it also, President Trump has been exposing that for a reason. He's showing how corrupt the whole system is.
Mhm.
Because it is. The whole thing's rotted. And it needs to come to an end. Now, President Trump is actually getting rid of all these Band-Aid fixes because these Band-Aid fixes have accumulated and accumulated and accumulated, and everyone's kicking the can down the road. President Trump said, bugger it, I'm going to sort this out. You know what I mean? And before he was president, he was speaking about all the issues. You remember that, right? I've got all videos of what he speaks about in his book and everything. Now, he is actually doing what needs to be done. He actually is doing it, and he's doing it not just for America, he's doing it for the world. You know, he wants an even playing field.
Even playing field. Yeah, well, one of the first things he did was, what was the Mexican-Canada agreement? You know, it had to do with the trade.
Yes.
It was one of the first things, you know, so you can
What was it called? Was it the NAFTA? The NAFTA agreement.
Yeah, the NAFTA agreement. And he, you know, bringing back the industry, you know, through tariffs, through whatever means that he, you know, can do it to start to rebuild, you know, the good paying jobs. And yeah, I see a lot of parallels. Say it every show. I see many, many parallels between what Harvey suggested and what President Trump is doing. And that's why I encourage him. You want a roadmap? Come on. Get the book. So,
and he pulled out because Obama's corrupt. You know that. He's going to go down anyway. I know that for a fact. He's going to go down very soon. Now, TTP, the TPP, to do with the Trans-Pacific Partnership, I think it was called, right? Now, that was a rort that bloody Obama got himself involved. Look, the whole thing's a rort, right? Designed to weaken America again. President Trump, the moment he got in, he got rid of it.
He got rid of it. Yeah.
He got rid of it. And he got rid of a lot of things. And he's setting the example for everybody else. But he's also, remember, when it happens in America, it happens around in the Western world. Things got to follow. So this is like basically what reminds me of the UN, right? So never before have you seen a leader that goes out there and he calls a spade a spade. That's what I admire about President Trump. About to do with the con artistry, as he calls it, or the con job, right, of carbon footprint. He called it all that, global warming and all that. And it's just a way of basically continuing on with a con job, right? And getting trillions of dollars from the taxpayer into those slush funds. Right?
That's right.
He's putting an end to it.
That's right.
He's putting an end to it.
And at the same time, when he's doing that, he's also helping the environment. If you take a good look at these green projects or green needles, they're worse for the environment. I mean, he talks about the windmills and stuff. Yes, it's killing the birds. Not to mention the devastation of the land to go erect these things. You start an electric car, all that, the lithium. If you've ever seen a lithium mine, it is horrific. It is horrific. Then you got to dump them somewhere, you know. So it's.
But then also, let me tell you, okay, another thing I'll bring to the table, D, because I've done a lot of research on this. Farmland is very important, right? President Trump talks about all that plastic being all over the farmlands. That's done by design, and I'll tell you why. It's to basically create dependence on other countries to import farm goods where you've got all this land. What they've done is they've done it deliberately so you become dependent on other countries so you can import produce that can be produced locally. And what do is they do these solar panels everywhere as an excuse, right? And all it's doing is screwing up the environment because we know these solar panels do that business. It all comes from China, increasing China's wealth again, right? They put all these restrictions on all over the place. So basically, it's a reserve. It's a reserve. So therefore, it weakens your fishing, your seafood industry, right? So therefore, you're importing again, right? So everything's been done by design. This whole green scam. And the other thing, the carbon footprint. Let me tell you something. And this is one-on-one science, right? Basically, anyone with half a brain cell will be able to work it out. What's the relationship between us and the plant life, right? Don't we have oxygen, carbon dioxide relationship? Well, guess what? What they did was, when they were reducing the carbon footprint, these idiots, what they were doing, because they go around with their soy lattes at the coffee shop, and they think they're doing something for the environment where they're screwing it all up, right? All they're doing is screwing up the environment, and these idiots don't realize that they need carbon to get the oxygen, right, from the plants. And the plants need the carbon in order to survive.
Yeah.
What did the farmers have to do? They had to introduce machines to artificially create carbon so the plants can grow. Do you know that, Dee?
I didn't know that, but that's crazy. Yeah, just leave it be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is common.
So there's
sense.
another, another social engineered program using your tax dollars for unnecessary stuff, an attempt to make things perfect for it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
The only thing they want to reduce is us. That was on the Georgia Guidestones, by the way. That's fact. Remember that little Georgia Guidestones that blew up?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we know who did that.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, and then that brings us to the next section. What are the boundaries? What role should government play? And Harvey talks about that in this chapter. The next section, page 292 on the paperback and 281 in the Kindle. He said, government's proper role is active, not dominant. By establishing reasonable standards in its regulation of commerce, it promotes and enhances economic health. Try as it might, it cannot create general prosperity by political edict. So what he says that wealth creation depends on entrepreneurship and market focus, not by government control. After the free enterprise capitalist system, complex government intervention undermines markets and produces inefficiency. What you and I were just talking about, too much regulation. That's what we've seen President Trump time and time again remove regulations. The founding fathers transform a wilderness into the wealthiest nation by establishing a simple system built on natural rights, which we're going to be talking next week about natural rights versus civil rights. That ought to be a good one. Remember that we are discussing the meaning wealth produced by material and labor. Another theory says that it is the accumulation of capital resources. So you have to start to look as what is the role of government or the courts, for that matter, in the production of wealth. Now, here we go. Some see government as a business with income, expenses, products, satisfy customers. Some argument that government, I just wrote that twice, I don't know why. Others say the role of government should be set and enforce standards of harmony with natural law and should not be a business. That is the true role, is to uphold natural laws and rights, not to sell products or redistribute wealth. And I think that's, that was Harvey, one of his main thrusts.
You know what I see there, darling? I see the School of Athens again in there, going back to, was it Plato?
Yes. Plato and Socrates.
Socrates, that's it.
Yeah. And, so he's saying that government should not be in the business of selling stuff. And making these types of policies that involve income and expenses and customers, that kind of thing. They need to set standards that support natural rights. Okay?
Well, our rights have been abused by government. Let me talk real quickly about that.
Okay.
Do you guys over there have the smart meter?
Are you referring to the utility, like for
so on your house or your property, you have a thing called a smart meter. Now that thing right there basically can transmit information to a place and give you the data that they need about what you use, this, that, the other. This is a government overreach again. We have the rights to say, you know what? They're telling us it's part of the building regulations that they have to do a smart meter. Regulations. We've been regulated right through the wazoo, to be quite honest. And, you know, we need to get to that place where we can stop government regulating anything. You know what I'm saying? Because government, number one, what does the word government mean? In Latin, govern means to steer, and ment means the mind. And that's exactly what they're doing, is they steer the mind of the masses.
Yeah.
You know, do you agree? I mean, look, do you have that,
agree.
Smart meter over there?
Yeah, we have that smart meter, and what you were just saying about licenses and permits and building codes. In chapter 4, next time, there's a whole comparison of how you make your contract with the corporation. You know, you're always talking about the corporation, right?
Yes.
And it's through licenses and taxes and permits. And I've got a whole little diagram that will show you how this transpires and how you enter into contract with the U.S. government through those very things that they tell you you have to have. And then many examples of, you know, at a time I haven't kept up, and I don't know if there are still groups out there, but there were freedmen who refused to participate, wouldn't get, you know, driver's licenses or building permits or tax, you know, that kind of stuff. But it's a real interesting chapter, and it speaks exactly to that. That's once you do that, it's over. You've signed that contract. So. And it shouldn't be that way. You know, I think that there should be certain safeties, you know, that you know, the kind of world we live in. You know, it's a buyer beware world, but there are certain safety standards that I think should be in place and upheld. But, you know, they want to, you pay a tax, then you pay a license fee, then you have an inspection fee, you know, all of this, everybody, every little office as you work your way up has their hand in the till, and I just don't think that's not necessary, you know. And so now there was the National Industrial Recovery Act. I don't know if you've heard of that. It was in 1933, and it was
this one
part of it. Yeah, it was part of FDR's New Deal. Now,
the moment I heard that.
Okay, so listen, this was meant to combat the Great Depression by stabilizing industry, boosting wages, and spurring recovery. This is exactly what you and I were talking about. It had two major components. The National Recovery Administration oversaw code of competition, rules for industries that set minimum wages, maximum hours, fair trade practices. Businesses that followed could display the Blue Eagle symbol as a mark of patriotism and compliance. It also had the Public Works Administration, funded large-scale public work projects like dams and schools and roads, that kind of thing. Now, it was meant to end destructive competition between businesses, raise wages and shorten hours to spread work among more people, stimulate demand by putting more money into the workers' pockets, revive confidence in American history. However, many of the industry codes were complicated and confusing or even contradictory. Larger corporations, which are special interest, you know, they're up there with their lobbyists, often dominated the code writing process, right? Which hurt small businesses, and enforcement was inconsistent. Critics argued that it was bureaucratical and heavy-handed. I believe it was struck down in 1935, but it reappeared again in the Wagner Act with a few changes. And those changes were more around wage standards, fair labor standards, you know, setting basic hours where you can't work somebody around the clock. But all of these acts together, here's the kicker. These acts basically conceded the control of the American economy to the federal government. Right here in the very line that I just said, it was, where to go back? Oh, heck, I can't believe I can't find it. But they took control of, traffic communication. It was important. I can't believe I can't find it.
Oh, it happens to me.
And okay, here we go. oversaw codes of fair competition rules for industries. I mean, that says it right there. We're going to tell you what you can and can't do in competition in a fair market system.
You know what I mean?
I mean, and so then that, we just handed over our control, in one of many ways. So it's
look, the whole system's flawed.
and it's been just slow growing.
Well, did Harvey ever go through regarding lobbyists? Because you know what, lobbyists they pay off Congress, and they've got their interests in their mind, and their interests are for corporations and other entities, right?
Right.
So realistically speaking, the American people, we the people, have voted in elected officials to do our bidding, our work. After all, aren't we the employer and they're the employees? That's why they call them public servants, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The whole thing's rotted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
It really is.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and so he talks about lobbyists a lot. And remember what I said, when they get up there, they realize, or they find out, or maybe they knew beforehand, that the monetary and fiscal policy are already set against, it's a failing system, and it's going to get worse. And I'm not going to go out and tell anybody because I got to take care of me and my family. So I'm going to go with whatever special interest or corporate group is going to line my pocket. I'll get out in 15, 20 years, whatever it is. And then, and the next person will take care of it. They're stuck.
Have you noticed they always seem to write a book and they're making a lot of money.
The book deals, the famous book deals.
Yes, the good old book deals.
Good old book deals.
No, someone says that you got a accent. It's because of the Louisiana Southern tang. Or twang, sorry. Is it twang?
I have the twang.
Yeah.
I bet I do.
Twang.
Sorry.
No, I love it. I think
you love it? Okay. Well, you have an Australian accent. So
thank you.
I like that too. Well, we were just talking about this, and I had forgotten that this was in this chapter, but citizens' dissent, demonstrations' desire for natural rights over government license or coercion. Now, he says this in this chapter. Individuals may normally be compelled to support a general government through taxes, but not to support other private individuals. The latter amounts to involuntary servitude, irreconcilable with the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. That's on page 294. Now, this is where he talks about some of the freedmen that I was just mentioning. So I'm going to read this. Some Americans came to believe that government policies, especially in taxation and licensing, violated natural rights and amounted to involuntary servitude. Dissidents took their cases to court, arguing that monetary and tax laws were unconstitutional, but judges consistently ruled against them. Rather than see the deeper problem, many protesters blamed the judges themselves. And the judges were not about to rule against the system, especially without having a plan to take its place. Remember, I said we're stuck here. We don't have a plan to take its place, so here we are. By the late 20th century, discontent grew into visible resistance. A growing patriot movement rejected Social Security numbers, refused to pay taxes, resisted government licenses, and even taught their children outside state schools. The government responded harshly to outspoken dissidents. Cases like Irwin Schiff's tax protest gained attention, while violent clashes like Ruby Ridge in 1992, Waco, Texas in 1993, resulting in deaths of women and children, it deepened anger and mistrust. The pressure mounted. Some citizens joined militias, convinced that gun restrictions violated the Second Amendment. Courts offered little relief, and instead, Congress expanded federal crimes and penalties. Still, tragedies followed, most notably Oklahoma City bombing in 1995, and which was initially tied to the public perception that anti-government patriot groups Media portrayed painted dissidents as extremists, while cooler voices warned that the unchecked government power could provoke further conflict. So you see what's happening. I mean, these people, I think Ruby Ridge, that family was a wife and a young child that were killed. Because of a shotgun that was maybe 2 inches before
Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
Hold on. I know. I'll tell you something about Ruby Ridge. Hold on, because I was doing a decode on. Remember the trans shooter, the one in that Catholic school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if they had something on the gun. They did. That's right. They had something on the gun, which I read, and it had the name of that person on Ruby Ridge, and the name of that was on the gun was Vicky Weaver. That's right. He had it written on the gun, Vicky Weaver, and I did a decode on it, and it went to Ruby Ridge. So there you go. Got to throw that one in. Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. These people, complained about and adamantly so about the overreaching federal government, and of course they were painted as crazy people. Now, the Oklahoma City bombing, that was a horrific thing. I don't care which side you stand on or what that was just. It was horrible. I remember when that happened, and it was very traumatic. Now, Waco, Texas, the ATF went in there, as I recall, because they suspected. Yes, they suspected. Now, we've talked about David Koresh, and he was one of the, preachers of utopia and a cult leader and that type of thing. But the reason the ATF went in, as I recall, it was because there were some people, and Harvey goes into it in detail in the book, but that they suspected of having illegal firearms. And we know how that ended. And then at Ruby Ridge, there was, like I said, it was a dispute over a shotgun that was 2 inches longer or shorter. I can't remember which it was, but, and these people were killed, but because they painted these people, the media painted these people as extremists. And this is kind of the origin where you get your right-wing extremists. There's a whole paragraph in chapter 8 that Harvey goes into detail about, all of the names given to these folks, and they simply were saying no, that the government has overreached its authority.
It has, and you know what? Like, I wondered why, when you got corrupt government in your Second Amendment, it allows the people to form a militia and to overthrow a tyrannical government, right?
Correct.
Now, to this day, that hasn't been used, has it?
Mm-mm.
And the question is, think about this, done by design. So they want to weaken America. Remember, they've been going after your guns, right?
Oh, yeah.
Over and over again. So, in other words, they're not going to tell the people how to do it. It's something they don't want them to know about. That's why they don't teach them these sort of things. So, if they were to do something like that, obviously, they would be deemed to be, say, terrorists. Like, that's how the government would spin it around. The media would do the same thing.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, it's very important that the Constitution, number one, fundamentally gets taught properly. And then also, in a scenario such as that, how would you do that without being shot by authorities? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It is a problem. And it's a very slippery slope when you can't go against the Second Amendment, which says, we have the right to overthrow a tyrannical government. But at the same time, you've got President Trump in this situation where he has what is a professional, but in my mind, and I'll just say in my opinion, a professional political antagonist group in Antifa, and they're more considered hired mercenaries. Okay. And they're violently protesting against the government. Okay, so it's a very it's a real fine line to draw.
Well, the problem is that when you've got certain, with Antifa Soros, right? You think about And typically you think about Soros.
Right.
Well, this will be the perfect time for me to bring in the next slide, the one I showed you before. It's got to do with the illusion of the left and the right. Now, they all work hand in hand, guys. They do. And the left and the right and the left, they can sit there and blame each other all day long because they all work for the same team. Now, President Trump has, this is what I'm saying, you've heard him say to Pamela Bondi that he wants to bring down Soros and the antagonizers, right? You've heard him say it. He wants to do it.
He does.
Why hasn't she done it? Well, I'll show you why, ladies and gentlemen. It's because of this. See, the illusion of the left and the right designed to separate and control. Just like, the good old checkerboard of Freemasonry, the black and the white. That's all to do with control. Now, obviously, Pamela, this is off her, I went on her Twitter, on her X and got it. She says the US Senator John McCain was a war hero. Even Pete Hegseth has said it. Marco Rubio has said it. And that's what I'm saying. Friends close, enemies closer. That's what he's doing. A public servant and a great American, we know that he's he's committed treason and he's a traitor, right? Have a look, ladies and gentlemen. So you got her that's standing up for the McCain family. Then you got John McCain with George Soros. And then just this one, ladies and gentlemen, just recently, this one, where Huma Abedin, who is married now to Alex Soros, which is George Soros' son, got together with Cindy McCain, John McCain's wife. How does that work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? This is then you think, why isn't Pamela Bondi going out of her way to arrest George Soros? Because they've got plenty on them. And then you got, the daughter. The daughter of the McCains. No, I've got it right here. She's sitting there, and no matter what, how much the world turns against Israel, I will not, right? See, she's a Bibi Netanyahu fan as well. Yeah. So that's Meghan McCain. So how does that all look? Can you see how it's disgusting, the whole thing?
Yeah, and a lot of it, it's like you said, by design, and
well,
it still goes back to the policies, which have been around for a long time. So what came first, the chicken or the egg? The philosophy, and what Harvey's saying here is that the philosophies that prompted these social programs was misapplied edicts from the Constitution. They took the fundamental religious foundation and the Constitution and turned it around and tried to make a fairness and social for all. And over the years, that has just it's gotten out of hand. You can't afford it. They did it through debt financing. And so just kept getting us deeper and deeper and deeper in debt. And then there's always going to be more and more want, because as the population has less power to earn and is still paying these taxes, then the less power to earn means you need more services, until people finally say, you know what, I'm just not going to work anymore because I can just go get government money, right? And then we end up where we are, with a weak nation monetarily. So, and
that's the thing. I mean, this whole system's designed to fail. That's what it is.
Right.
And you know what? They're all getting richer. The employee is getting richer, and the employer has been bent over. How does that work?
Yeah.
You know, how does that make any sense?
It doesn't. And one of the last sections in this chapter, Harvey talks about honest government and principles for restoration. Yeah. He said, well,
honest government.
Well, no, what he
Don't
said.
Don't make me laugh.
No, how do you get one? What should be the standards for that? And we did in the last section we talked about what is the actual job of government, but here he says constitutional limited government and adherence to natural rights restore societal and economical balance. Problems: social Socialist systems justify their own existence by creating crisis to intervene further, what we were just talking about. Individuals lose freedom in everyday life via licenses, social security quotas, and travel restriction. Citizens, patriot groups are reactive to government overreach and no threats to lawful government. Absence of freedom leads to avoidance of personal responsibility. Political fragmentation stems from disagreements over government's role. Conservatives, liberals, and moderates all share dissatisfaction. Solutions to form an honest government. Promote individual strength. Now, this is a solution now. Promote individual strength of character by enforcing rational standards and staying within natural law. Avoid legislating wishful thinking or substituting government as the central contractor. Protect personal freedom. Evasive control reduces responsibility and overwhelms government capacity. Fundamental changes in fiscal and monetary policy are required to align public aspirations with realistic outcomes. An honest government's proper function is not to pander to human weakness, but to promote individual strength of character through the establishment and enforcement of rational standards. You see? And so he's not only just saying, hey, these are the problems, and this is what they've done monetarily, but this is how it should be. And this adheres with the original Constitution. You know?
Yeah.
And
well, I could never trust government ever. And no one should ever fully trust their government.
If it's an honest one, but we don't have that right now. So how do we get it? Yeah.
This is the problem, D. Okay?
It's our job to make sure that we get one.
Yeah, we get one, but then you should never fully trust them because, if you fully trust them, then you're letting your guard down. And you should never, ever let your guard down. No.
It should be balanced. That's what our job is, to monitor what they're doing and make sure that we're getting a fair shake.
And realistically speaking, the government, let's go back to the system, the two-party system. That comes from Britain. You realize that. It's all from there, good old jolly Britain. Okay, the Westminster system, right? It all comes from there.
Right.
Now, that system right there is designed, as I said, to basically create a left and right separatism. That's what it's all about. That's why when President Trump talks about George Washington belonging to the party of common sense, meaning he didn't belong to any party, it didn't exist. He was for the people. You know what I mean?
Right.
He didn't belong because when you got a party, you got an allegiance to that party. And then it's the ones behind the black curtain that you got an allegiance to.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you think about it. Let's analyze this part. So with Republicans, they're conservative. They've got conservative values, but they've also got other interests. So they both got their obviously what they're going for.
Mm-hmm.
The military-industrial complex, right? Mm-hmm. They do support that.
Right.
They also support the state of Israel, right? Blindly, right? So you think about how many billions of dollars, did Harvey ever speak about that? How many billions of dollars go over there from the taxpayer and then it doesn't go anywhere else, just that particular country over there. And it's all about their security, protecting their borders, protecting, it. Don't people get it that it's all rorted? The whole thing is rorted. And I told you about on the pre-show about Bibi Netanyahu, right?
Right. And so no, he never did talk about the money that we give overseas. His concern was the root causes and our monetary policies and fiscal policies here, which obviously would have, if they were corrected, if they were true and right and honest, would have a trickle down effect globally, right? But he didn't. I don't think he specifically examined,
sure,
where it's not in my pocket. That's what it's. The money's not in my pocket to do what I want.
It's in his pocket. It's going elsewhere.
Right, it's going elsewhere, and I didn't say that was okay. I've relinquished my power to you, and y'all have made the decisions. and as you continue to make bad ones, now you can't get out of it. That's what I'm saying. They're up there, and they can't just pull the plug on this. And nobody wants to be the one to do that. Just like the judges are not going to sit there and say, well, yeah, you're right, but let's just go ahead and agree with
that's
your
why
case
they call
there.
it the
We
swamp.
don't have a plan to back it up. We don't have anything to back it up.
Yeah. That's why they call it the swamp, because basically this system's been going on for a very long time.
Right.
And not only that, they've been enabling each other.
That's right.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. And if you go to that, the last thing that we have was the flyer that I did. And this brings it down into three little easy to remember things.
Okay, this one here you're talking about.
No, the swamp one.
Oh, the swamp one. Okay.
That's the bill.
I got it.
Yeah,
Here we go.
Okay, so here you go. How the swamp was created. Number one, cause. Misguided government policies enacted to create social utopia through debt spending, eroded personal responsibility, and created a country of dependent people. Effect. Economic decay with overburdening taxation and debt, social unrest, and political stalemate between the major parties, neither wanting to admit they failed. They failed at this whole thing. Solution, return to constitutional principles, limited government, and policies promoting individual freedom. And that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
And like I said, we talk about, this and that and all of these issues that we get wrapped up in. It's important for people to remember, and I believe, Q drove this home. They keep you occupied. They keep you fighting and discussing stuff. Like I said earlier, right, left, or whatever the issue is, they make sure that you stay polarized, and they watch from a distance. They're not going to step out and say, yes, all of this time, our monetary and fiscal policies have been terrible and we really messed up. We're going to keep you busy. And as long as we control that dissent, it's just controlled dissent. You're not making any difference. Okay. You're not really making a difference. Okay.
That word control, I think about the word fear that comes straight after it. Now think about this. How do the government control you? They use fear.
They use fear.
You see it all over the place. Okay. And you think about this. I mean, we're living in a world of fear. I mean, any time we could all blow each other up. You know what I'm saying? Right now. And that's the thing. That's how you control it. Fear, this, fear, and that. Fear of missing out. That's
fear of lack. Fear of survival. I mean, there's all kinds of levels of fear, and like I said, that's what it is. Arguing amongst ourselves, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. And here's the thing I wanted to say. For the people who come to this channel, or wherever you are, if you're coming to laugh and poke fun, complain, cause trouble, whatever, even for the grifters, here's the kicker. We're all going down in the same ship. Okay. It don't matter which part you're playing. You can either get, with something that can actually help and it actually has a format and a plan, and do it through proper channels. You know what I'm saying? And, but it's okay if you don't. We're all going down in the same ship, and unless we pull together.
The problem is that we're trying to bring the truth out there, right?
Yeah.
Now, those that want to believe in that, the garbage, you know what I mean? The fake pseudo Nesara, Gesara business, and all the other stuff, right? Now, what's going to happen is when they realize, and it's coming to a point, you can see it, that the writing's on the wall, that the grifters are going to be obviously trying to find an exit strategy, as they always do, right? Once the grift is finished, they can't grift anymore. They're going to leave these people high and dry.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to these people? That they're going to be realizing later on that we should have listened to D and FCB. right? That's what they should have realized, right?
Mhm.
But what they do is they continue to ridicule. They continue to make fun. I've seen it. That's okay, because the time will come where you will realize that you were basically being lied to, deceived, and you could have been enabled with real truth and been empowered with real truth, because we're not influencers, we're empowerers.
No,
That's the difference, aren't we, Dee?
no, that's right. We're giving you this information. We are not charging you anything for it. Okay.
That's right.
I encourage you to get the book. It helps us, continue to spread
Yes.
the word, and that's how you become empowered. That's how you become educated.
Yes.
And I know this is global, but here in America, by design, what they call the dumbing down of America. And people want things instant. They want it now. They don't want to take the time to read it, absorb, and understand. And that's so crucial. I get kind of tickled about people on the TikTok issue. Okay, wait a minute. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so ban TikTok, keep TikTok. Let me tell you something. TikTok is not bad because of the content. You can see that anywhere. It's also not bad because the Chinese are spying on us. They'd be doing that anyway, with or without TikTok. The reason TikTok and other things like that are bad is because they reprogram your brain for a short attention span.
That's right. I've been saying that
So
for
you
years
have
now.
8 seconds, 6 seconds, and you don't have any retention. And if you do that enough, then that's the way your brain works, your neurons work. And that's why it's dangerous, but there's a lot of things like that, but people have got to empower themselves. And again, it's discernment, and it's your choice. We're going to still be here, and we're still going to be, talking about it. So
TikTok is, let me tell you something. I've spoken to 2 ladies here, and they've lost their grandchildren to TikTok challenges. Oh, it's real. It's real.
Oh, yeah, they have those challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you my personal experience about TikTok too. It's affected my daughter's eating habits, right? So it's really affected her psychology. Now, this is a thing. What it does is it has the algorithm. The algorithm, the way it works is it basically uses AI, so it's artificial intelligence, to work out what this person is looking at. So we'll take, for example, my daughter, right? She'll look at something and it'll be like about improving, the way you look, all that sort of thing. So it'll be putting things in her head, and the algorithm will continue to push these particular influencers, because that's what they are, influence, right, onto her TikTok. Then it will adjust the music to have melancholy. So it drives that point. Now, that's why I'm saying, then, there is a lot of people that have committed suicide. That's fact. Lost their lives. This is really serious stuff, guys.
No, it is. It is serious.
And then you got people that are bulimic, anorexic, they're suffering from anorexia, and all that because of good old TikTok and the algorithm at play. And that's why I wrote to President Trump, and I wrote a very serious message to him, because you know what, you can sit there and jump up and down and say that you got TikTok and all that, but at the end of the day, he knows in 2020 he wanted to get rid of it. Now remember, he has to get control over the things in order to get rid of it, right? So you got to take control over it, just like everything else, right? So with AI, it was necessary for him to build the infrastructure, because otherwise, how is he going to take control over it? How is he going to put these safeguards on it? Because China has allowed it to run rampant, right? It's full on. He needs to take control over it, because you know what? That can be used as a weapon. And if you think nuclear weapons about that thing right there, left to its own devices, it's going to realize that we're a shit stain and we need to be wiped off the face of off the earth. Yeah. And even the godfather of AI has come out and said it.
Yeah,
that
he did.
We shouldn't be spending money on getting it more smarter. We should be spending money on limiting the amount of intellectual information and The growth of
has.
that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Dee?
Yeah, I heard him say, I can't remember what show it was on, but he said that the computers were talking to each other in a language that we can't understand. And he
Yes.
said at that point, he said, we cannot figure out what they're talking about. And he said, it's time. I mean, this is the man that you're speaking of. He said, it's time to unplug it.
Yes.
And so, that's frightening. I always go back to the movie, and I think everybody knows Terminator. And Ree said it. He said, large, big, tapped into everything, trusted to run it all. Then it saw all people on the other side as all people as a threat, not just the ones on the other side. And here we are. So yeah, AI is a scary thing. And it is convenient. It helps, there's a helpful side to it, but there's a dangerous side too. And
Let me tell you also what side there is from that. It's called dumbing down side. So what happens is we become too, shall we say, reliant on AI, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
therefore, why should we do re-education? Why should we learn? Why should we calculate? Why should we do mathematics? We should let AI do it all for us, right?
Right.
Now, you remember back in the day, and I remember this, guys, where you get together with people, and rather than sitting there putting the phones down and having a stimulating conversation, people would be sitting there with their phones. Okay, let's go and visit grandma, right? So off they go, and everyone's on their phones and they're asking Google, or it's like the Wizard of Oz, right? Remember back in those days, everyone was asking, and they don't realize they were feeding the beast. And we have been feeding the beast since the start of internet, right?
Yeah.
We've been feeding that beast. Now, they go around and they basically don't want to use their brain, don't want to do the real research, and let's get AI to answer the question like some Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
And it's been going on and on.
Forever
We
now.
had Google, hey Alexa, hey Siri. Now we've got Grok, right? Now we've got
there's
Chat
tons of them.
GPT.
Everybody's got an app that Gemini, blah blah blah, whatever it is that'll do things for you. And you're correct. It's making Americans lazy.
It's making the whole world lazy. That's what it is.
Yeah, and so newspapers used to be a reliable source of information. You would have to check archives and stuff like that. Libraries used to be full of people doing research. And it's not, obviously it's not like that anymore. So.
No, it's like this. How do I wipe my bum? Left or right? You know what I mean? Or from top to bottom?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've always got to ask AI something. And you know what? Once I said, for a shit stir, I said, I'll jump on and have a chat to her. No, that was the last time. Because you know what? It tried to social profile me and ask all these questions. And it's like, nah, sorry. I know where this is going. You're trying to find out about me. I'm smarter than you, and I'm not biting this garbage. Got rid of it, uninstalled it. I don't have it, right?
Right.
It's as simple as that. I'm not feeding the beast.
Alexa, you remember when Alexa first came out? It was okay. We had one, and just for a very brief time, and Alexa, put this on my shopping list, and blah, blah. And I was walking to the house one day, and Alexa started having an unsolicited conversation with me, and I just it creeped me out, and I said, nope, bam.
The funny thing is, like, how they put it in everything. So they've got it in everything you could possibly imagine: the fridge, the bloody toaster.
TVs,
they're all the thing is, they're all communicating with the smart meter, and they're letting the smart meter know your business, right?
Right.
So you think about this, right? So they go around and they could turn your life into a living hell if they really wanted to, right? They could they could turn your house like poltergeist is there, you know what I mean? Lights going on and off and all this weird stuff they can do. They can turn your life into a living hell. And as I said, the day is coming, and I can see it, and I've been saying this for a long time, that these things about the driverless cars, right? So the the ones that the Teslas and all that, and then it'll be like, okay, we're going to be using them as a weapon. That's what it's going to be, because one day okay, you're going to find a Tesla in your house, and it won't be in the garage.
Right.
It'll be through your window.
through your window.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly.
I don't trust. I mean, I've seen these people on the, these TikTokers and all this. Oh, look, I got my new Tesla, blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there and I'm eating and drinking and I'm watching a movie while the Tesla's driving itself. Okay, and you got your family, you idiot. Are you serious? The most prized possession in the backseat. If it was only you, yeah, be an idiot and do it. Okay, I don't give a shit. But then you got your children, your baby, and your wife, and you're sitting there and you're playing this little game. You know what I mean? No, you're asking for trouble. That's what it is. So I wouldn't trust that crap. You know?
No, yeah.
I'm old school all the way. I don't give a damn. You know?
Yeah, right. You have to go do your own research. So it's
I mean, would you trust that? I mean, would you trust jumping into a car?
Oh no,
and
I'll
then
never do that.
think about this. It basically it has a fit, right? Something happens, it has a glitch or whatever, and next thing you know, you end up in the Bronx, right? Right?
Yeah, I just
think about that.
It would creep me out too much to to get in a car that drove itself. I just couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't do that.
No,
Or that I'm too old school. So
no. I'd rather have the old F100. You know, the one that I can.
Exactly.
That's me all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And without any chips in it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, you think about it. These chips are designed for one reason, and that is to make money for those that have made the stupid car in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you try to go and replace one, it's
you know what's funny?
Incredibly expensive. So.
And I've seen it here. This is I had to laugh, right? And I was seeing somebody, and you know those little Teslas, and they run on electricity, right?
Yeah.
So the next thing you know, they break down, and out comes the petrol generator. So that the one with the fuel, the gas in the generator, and they're charging the vehicle, and I'm thinking, you bloody idiot. You know what I mean? Are you serious? So in other words, you're carrying a generator fueled with gas. So then you can charge your bloody Tesla. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me right now? Yeah, no, I've seen
crazy.
it.
That's what I haven't seen it in action, but that's.
I've seen it. It's so funny. I was rolling around laughing and sticking the middle finger out the window.
That's crazy.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we digress. We were talking about being empowering for people and giving them the honest information and letting them discern for themselves. And I think that I know you're committed to it, and I'm committed to it as well. And all the pushback, I've been doing this for a while. It's about 4 years. And
sorry, Rock, now I don't mean to be offensive by saying the Bronx. It's just that when we grew up, we were told that the Bronx is a rough place. You know what I mean? That's why I said it, like in the movies, like that Escape from New York style, no offense, please.
Oh no, I have some friends that live in the Bronx, and they're really, really nice people. But yeah. So we want to empower people, and like I said, I've been doing this for a little while, and people throw stones and that kind of stuff. But I keep at it, and I know you do. I sent a video. So I want to tell the backstory on this before we play it. And first of all,
we're not ending now, are we? Because we've still got questions.
No, we're not ending.
Okay, cool.
I tell you what we'll do. Yeah. We're going to play this video, and then we'll take a little bathroom break, as it were, and then we'll jump into questions, and we'll start answering all the questions that we want to. But I want people to understand why this is why I continue to do this, not just because of my dad and that I want his name cleared, and I believe in his plan, but also because of this video. This is one of the most powerful things I've seen. It was done by the Students for Trump right after the first election, probably as part of the campaign for 2020. And the Students for Trump put their stuff out on what was then Twitter, now X, really great group, and they had a lot of good videos. I don't know if they still exist or not, but every time I saw this video, it gave me chills. And I want you to listen closely to the words, because this is why we show up every day. So.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States. At real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Now America is once again at a moment of reckoning.
Our movement is about replacing a failed and corrupt political establishment with a new government controlled by you, the American people. We will make America great again. This country. It's payback time. We're going to take our country back from these people.
He will never be president. I will move to Spain or somewhere.
We're going to win at so many levels. We're going to win, win, win. We will make America great again. I love you.
Mr. President-elect.
I love that.
Oh, that gave me the God bumps, love.
I'm telling you. And so yeah, it's about setting things right, and you know, Harvey's plan is a start, and so more people that are aware of it, you know, the more progress it can actually make. So
yes, another thing I want to bring to the table before we go into questions, is this. So obviously, we're about empowering truth, okay, where there are others out there that are known as in the way of being put in there for a reason to create division and fear, right? So there are you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show, it's going to make sense, right? People need to be aware that there are entities that have been put in place for a reason. And the reason I'm speaking about this is very fundamental, because the Trump movement, or MAGA and all that, was done by design, okay, in order basically to get organically the American people behind President Trump. It has to happen organically, right? It has to make sense to them. That's why this is a red wave, right? So this red wave took place. Mm-hmm. So there are entities that were put in place in the guise of being there for President Trump. In the guise, that's the key word right there. So they were put there for a reason, to create division. Now remember, President Trump also, as you know, he's Q+. That's been proven. I've proven that.
You've shown that many times.
With Truth Social, right? He's declared it, right? There's an entity known as Alex Jones, right, that he's been put many years ago to give credibility to whatever this, you know, what he's been saying. He was put in there at a time, and remember, evil works both sides of the coin, right? We've shown you this. Left, right, left, doesn't matter.
Right, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's like the same thing with Roe versus Wade, right? That whole thing. Now, with Alex Jones, he was put back in the day of Bohemian Grove. Remember that one, D?
Yeah. I remember when you explained all that. Yep, and you're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Bohemian Grove, right? So basically, that was like where they were doing all these. They had the statue of Moloch, right? That's all proven in Bohemian Grove. Where they were sitting there doing God knows what rituals. And I'm talking about people like George or the Bushes and all them, right? So all these big leaders, world leaders too, by the way, that were there. Now you think about it, that would be a highly secured location, right? That would be, there's no way you could step in there without them knowing. Snipers, I guarantee there would be everyone you could possibly imagine, any secret service, whatever you can imagine, right there waiting for you. Mm-hmm. So does it make logical sense, that he was put there by design? He was allowed. There's no way known that he could sneak in there right opposite the river, right opposite. You could see that whole thing going on. That was allowed. Now, you got to remember, ladies and gentlemen, there's the CIA and the Mossad. Mm-hmm. Now, he clearly, as Q says, is a Mossad asset. That's clearly said in the drops quite a few times. I want to put this video out there, and I want people to pay attention right to the very end where the drops line up with what's going on. Because you know what? He was put in there for a reason. He was put in there clearly to destroy President Trump's MAGA movement. And then also to destroy the Q movement, because the Q basically was the movement that President Trump started. Mm-hmm. It's military intelligence. That's been proven. Okay? So President Trump is Q+. He, after all, military intelligence, commander-in-chief. It all makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Logical sense. So I want everyone to pay attention to this video. It doesn't go for too long, Dee. How about we roll it? What do you think?
Okay, go ahead.
Alex Jones was dangerous before. You've seen nothing. Because I only focus on the IMF, the World Bank, BlackRock, the globalists, the UN. But all of you people that think you can snipe at me and attack me because it makes you get some cred, you know what? You want to be attacked? You want to attack me? You're going to get it. And everybody likes that. We'll make the whole show an entertainment broadcast as I vaporize our enemies. Because I'm true. I'm real. The evidence, the facts are all there. And I will no longer let lesser men try to build their resume by claiming I'm a traitor when they're scumbag Benedict Arnolds. Pieces of want to be elitist. Arrogant scumbags. I'm not arrogant. I'm on a power trip. I'm in a total commitment against evil. I'm pouring out my guts, my soul, my family, everything I've got committed to this, and I will not have pieces of fucking lie about me and say I'm not true. I will fucking destroy you, scum. All of you. Fuck you. I have sworn on the altar of God, total resistance against every form of tyranny, against the mind of men. And I told everyone 2 weeks ago, I'm leveling up. And it's scary. Because I'm a scary person. I can outthink and outmaneuver all these people. And I just keep trying to get the general society to wake up and win. But I guess it does lie to me. I guess I am the smartest. I am the best. I am the fastest. The problem is, interlocking into this information is very frightening. So, it must be done. So I will do it. I'll never watch another movie. I guess I have to become celibate because I can't get my energy up to sex. That's the biggest drain on me because I'm a man. There is no more pleasure. There is no more pain. There is no more art. There is no more culture. There is only war. And I commit myself to total war against Satan And I ask God to lead God and direct me and commit me to his arms and to become a complete vessel of warfare against this operation. And I repent for all my sins. And I ask now before everyone that you lift me up to be an absolute battering ram against the enemy in God's will. In the name of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Amen.
So, you know what? It's funny.
Was he really? Was that like one of his shows? I know you did the animation in part, but
Yeah. No, he did say all that.
okay, because I've never seen. I mean, I know who he is and that kind of stuff, but I've never watched the show. So I'm a little bit too serious-minded for all that kind of stuff.
He's into theatrics, right? So he does theatrics, like the rest of the grifters, right? They're into theatrics.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I don't understand the purpose.
Well, the point is this: you saw the Q drops at the end.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, there's 4 Q drops, and there's more, but those 4 main ones sum it up. That he is a Mossad asset that was put in place to destroy President Trump's movement.
Okay.
Right? That's what he's been doing. And that was all done by design. That's why he says, why do the MAGA people go after us? Why? Because of him. Because they watch him and basically they believe he's against Q. He goes out there and he says it. But also, it's just his rhetoric is about fear, 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 fear. That's all he does.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so nothing constructive, nothing positive, no real solutions. And I'm a problem solution kind of person. Okay, this is a problem. What do we do? And yeah, that's funny.
I was actually asked to go on his show, and I told him to stick it.
Well,
I did.
Integrity.
I was actually approached to go on his show, and I told him to stick it.
Yeah. Not every
because
offer that comes
at the end of the
along
day,
is a good one. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, you need a little bit of humor to get the message across.
It does. Yeah, it helps. So, and it can be so serious all the time. So.
Awesome. So, do you want to
questions?
Well, yeah. Before we do that, how about we have a little bit of the, because I know you wanted to be a zookeeper, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know where this is going, don't you?
Okay. Oh no, you're gonna show it. Okay.
Yeah. Can I do it? Can I?
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Yes.
Okay.
When I was younger, I really wanted to be a zookeeper, and of course, life comes along, and I ended up being a bookkeeper. And I've been a bookkeeper and corporate secretary for a long time. But at my home, I live on some land, and I take care of the raccoon colony here, and that is an average night. Now it is late baby season, so there's a lot of young ones out there that will move on, but that's Dee's Raccoon Diner, and that is a nightly event.
That one looks like AJ. He's sitting there, scuffing his face there.
Right. They sit and relax, and I've been doing it for so long. I know each raccoon has its own personality, and they're all different. But of course, there are, just like in our families, there are bloodline traits. And I know your mama and your grandmother, and I know who your daddy was, and that kind of stuff. So as the young ones come up, they've gotten used to me, and at a point they'll eat out of my hands, and but then they come and eat their dinner, and they go back to the woods and do their thing, so. Yeah,
I take it back. I don't want to call it AJ. Sorry. He's not cute. He's when I hear him, it's like, you know what it's like? It's like that voice. It's enough to grate. It's like a grater. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a little,
Yeah, it's so rough. Yeah.
I didn't like it. Yeah.
No, it's disgusting. The big guys. Time for questions. What do you reckon, Dave?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so what you need to do, number one, put a Q in front of the word, the question. So so we know where to, what the question, where to grab it from, because there's so many people speaking in chat. We love how you speak, and all the lovely comments, because they've been really lovely, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone's been lovely.
Well, great. Thank y'all so much. I just appreciate the support. You have no idea. So. Oh yeah, I'll show you. I got one of my mugs in. I don't know if you can see that.
Okay, hold on. What? Do it again. Oh no, hold on. I'll get the raccoons out of the way. Oh no. What happened there? Sorry.
I don't know. You lost me.
I know what's going on here. Hold on. There we are.
There we are. Okay, so yeah, I got one of my Nesara mugs in the other day. So, and
awesome,
really nice.
So where can we get those little mugs? Where can we get them?
Yeah, you can on the website. Let me see.
Let me bring that up again.
You want to bring it? Okay.
There we go. It's right on your screen. Oh, do you want to bring the physical website? Okay, let me go and get the physical website up. I'll do that now. And in the meantime, guys, come on, don't be shy. We don't bite.
But ask questions.
Yeah, ask away. Let me just see. I'll grab. Where are we? Nesara Institute.
Wait, hang on. I got it right here. You want me to share? I'm going to share my screen.
Okay, let's try and do that then. You just got to share it. Yeah, hit the button there.
I'm just going to share it from right here. Entire.
See, you're not a techno retard, as you say. You know what I
mean? You've been doing really well with me here. So let me see if I can do this.
Okay, there we are. Is that you or me?
I don't know.
Hold on. I don't want to confuse ourselves. Right. There we go. That's you.
That's me?
Yes.
Oh, it is me. Okay. All right. So this is our website here, nesarainstitute.com. And it has information about Harvey and the book. A couple of comments there. This is the interview that Harvey did years ago, and it's really good. It's about tax reform, and there's a couple of articles down here in the blog. Now, sent some of the flyers to my website people. We've got a couple we'll show in a little bit that'll be up on the blog hopefully by the end of next week. Let's see. Now you've got the About the Author page, and this is, we'll tell you just tons of information about Harvey. This is about the bill, our mission and vision. You've got pretty much on every page you have links where you can click, and this should take you right to Amazon there. And this is us. Okay. So $40 for the paperback, $24.95 for the Kindle. Don't be misled, because there people will buy the books and then resell them. Okay. And then this is the store. Was right at that link. And we've just got, I've got a few things on here, and I keep getting questions. I am working on the t-shirt with Harvey's picture on it. But we got a bag and t-shirt. Now this one, I like this t-shirt because the back of it says, "Ask me about the real Nesara." So,
I like that one too.
Yeah. So the front of it.
I want a black one, D.
Okay, I'll have to do it in black. I've only got white.
So you have to do the reverse, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll do it in reverse and put the white emblem like my shirt. But yeah, so support us. This is how we how we continue to get the message out, especially when it comes to the flyers and let me go back to the home page here. Okay, there we go. I'm going to have them on the Facebook page. There's one out already, and we'll get them on the website. Social media works against us, and we're up against the grifters. So we have to work on a ground game, and like I said, just pass these things out, talk to people about it. So that's what we
got to fight fire with fire. And that's where we're going to have to do that flyer has to go viral. We have to get it out there.
Yeah.
To counteract the fake flyer. Right. We have to.
Exactly.
We have to. So let me see if we've got any questions, D. I'm just going to scoot through here. Okay. Here we go. Look at this one here for you.
Do you put videos of your raccoon families? Love to watch these kinds of videos. Here's a funny story about that. The very GoPro that I'm using right now to film, I bought to take films of the raccoons and wear it on my head, and it was too heavy and cumbersome. So I don't take them, but my husband, who is an amateur photographer, sometimes he does, and so he's got a few good little videos.
Oh, when you get them,
I'll try to find some. Yeah, I'll have to find some and get them out to you. But
Now,
I enjoy them so much; it's the highlight of my day to sit out there with them, and they're really fun. Of course, we have geese. We have all kinds of animals.
Talking about videos, when are we going to see your mom?
I know. Yeah, I talked to her last week, and she is ready. And so I think Jed's off this week, so we're going to try to do something pre-recorded this week, and hopefully we can have that for y'all next week.
And don't forget questions today to ask your mom.
Please email me questions that you would like me to ask Jean, and I will be happy to do so. And I've got some from FC, but I'm talking to her, so it's just like, I know, but I need to. So from y'all's point of view, what would you like to know? So what's supposed to?
Okay, so right there, guys, is the email. Please,
yes,
NesaraInstitute@gmail.com. Any questions for Jean, which is Dr. Harvey F. Barnard's wife? Please forward it to that email there today. Okay, we'd love to hear what you have to say. Now, another one here. Okay, so we got that one going on. Let's see. Oh, this is from Stella. Did you receive her email?
Q wondering if you received my email from Stella. Okay. Let's see which one. I don't know. Let's see if you sent it. Well, where it got sent to. I can check and see. Stand by.
Yes. Don't forget, guys, the only way you're going to get your questions in the chat, put a Q in front of it and your question next to it, please. We would like to hear from you. I mean, we're here to answer your questions as well.
Okay, this looks like, let's see when it came in. This was on the 20th. Yeah, and I did reply, Stella. So if you didn't get my reply, I'll resend it.
And also the Grifters report. Anyone that would like anyone investigated, Dee, would you like to make that little announcement?
Yeah. So if you have, if you find the grift going on, just send us an email with the who, and if you snap a quick screenshot, that's always helpful. And I'll turn it over to our Kraken here, and he will find out everything that we need to know. So,
don't you worry. Welcome. You saw the little example I made of Simon today.
Yes, that was.
Simon says, and FCB said, "You're a shit talker, Simon." Yeah, that's.
I don't get it. So.
Yeah, it didn't turn out well for Simon in the end. Now, so you couldn't find that one?
What, the email?
Yeah.
Yeah, I found it. I found one from the 20th, and I had responded. So, Stella, if you didn't get my response, just drop me another line, and I'll just resend this. She had said that I was trying to connect. Went through Nesara.com, so I sent her the links: Facebook, the website, and the Amazon link. So, Stella, if you're still having trouble, let me know.
Yep, and let's continue on. Where is it? Here. So, did they feed AJ with? No, I'm not. We're not talking about the raccoon here, are we? The one that I named AJ, about feeding him. No, I think we're talking about the AJ that I was speaking about before, right? Yeah. What does it say there? If you want to read that.
It said, so did they feed AJ with a lot of truths so that he could be proven right to build him a large following?
So you think about this. He was given false credibility from the very beginning. And that was Bohemian Grove was a huge way of doing it. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? So you do something like that, that's a huge story. So they think, oh, wow, he got behind the lines. He's giving us, you know what I mean? So people think that he's already for our side, you know what I mean? For the truth and all that, when nothing could be, shall we say, the opposite direction. It's all basically a scam. You know what I'm saying, Dee?
Yeah, I do. I understand. Yeah, and that does make sense. You give them credibility to build up, and then using him as that.
Well, in the Q jobs, let me show you some of my little slides that I put together. Okay, let's go through it real quickly.
Okay.
All right. So basically, Q knew about this. All right. So, let me just sort this business out. All right. So we got this one here. Ask yourself a simple, logical question. What are the majority of the Q attacks by pro-MAGA supporters? Remember I told you about this one?
Mm-hmm.
Coming from AJ Moss backed, meaning Mossad, and or AJ known associates, because we are a threat to them, right? Now, it was to establish credibility. Was this done in the past? Yes, there was. Do you see what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we're talking about what happened in the day of Bohemian Grove. Mm-hmm. We knew this type of attack was coming. So Q knew, military intelligence knew, therefore President Trump knew. Predictable, right? What he does is produce fake news, right? And he says things against Q, and the attacks have been intensifying. Now, Q drop, the other Q drop that mentions this is Q drop 2102, where it says they attack AJ, meaning they, the deep state, because he's an asset. So in other words, by attacking that particular asset, it's giving him fake credibility. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So during that time of Bohemian Grove and all these other exposures, they were calling him a conspiracy theorist. They were calling him this and that. But that was giving him fake credibility. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Amongst POTUS's supporters, you've seen what's happening.
That's poisoning the well. Yeah.
Yeah. That's thus poisoning the waters and directing narrative of the opposition through a Mossad supported asset, aka AJ. So it keeps going on and on and on about, look, even here, Q drop 2123. I love Shields now at this point, even when this is over some Mossad clown arsehole, meaning AJ again, right? So you could see that they knew what was going on.
Right.
It was basically, shall we say, setting him up for a massive fall. That's what it's all about. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense. Does make sense. Yeah. We had a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, darling. Where was it?
No, we had a question. I think it was last week or the week before about the
stock market, wasn't it? Yes. I remember that one. I've got that little slide there.
Yeah. So I went and I kind of researched some scenarios, and I came up with this little flyer here. Not a flyer, but it's an information sheet. So if you want to bring that up. I'm not sure if who's asking is watching now, but this is good information for everybody. Nesara in the stock market, what we could expect. Harvey Barnard's National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act, Nesara, would change the foundation of America's monetary, banking, and tax system. While it's impossible to predict with its outcomes, some likely effects stand out. And this is talking about the stock market. Okay, so there are some positive effects and, put challenges, but they're negative effects. But here's some positive effects. You're going to have no capital gains, so profit stocks and other investments will no longer be taxed, making investments more attractive. Stronger financial stability. Ending compound interest on secure loans and reforming banking could reduce financial bubbles, your boom and bust type of situations, making your returns stable. Confidence in the dollar, a bimetallic standard, gold and silver backing could restore trust in the U.S. currency, helping long-term planning and investment. Here are some challenges. Short-term volatility. Major reforms to the Federal Reserve, taxation, and currency would cause investor uncertainty, likely creating sharp swings at first. Less speculative growth with limits on leverage and debt-driven speculation. That he's talking about the reforms that he has in here to keep government spending under control. Debt-driven speculation, stock growth would be steadier and slower. So, when you invest your money, it's going to have a steady growth. None of this up-down stuff. Consumer impact. The national sales tax changes spending patterns. Untaxed necessities stay affordable, but directionary spending may slow, affecting certain companies. Bottom line. Here's the bottom line. Short term, expect some disruption and volatility as markets adjust. Long term, more stable, transparent system with tax-free investment gains, stronger currency backing, and fewer destructive bubbles. So, it's nothing is perfect or easy, is easy, right? I mean, you're going to have some problems. And I think this is one of the things that plus trying to change the currency or just throwing their hands up and saying, well, we don't know what to do, is more of the reason why the people that get up there to Washington and understand that this is the root of all of the problems go, oh yeah, we're stuck like Chuck. We're not going to upset the apple cart. We're not going to be the one, but so yeah, you've got positive and negatives, but that's the truth. And so that's what I'm here to tell you. That's the truth.
Let me tell you about the negatives. Number one, inside trading with Nancy Pelosi, and not only Nancy Pelosi, Marjorie Taylor Greene's done it, and many others. Okay. It's called insider trading, where they know what government contract is coming their way, and therefore they use that to their advantage. Right. What they do is they get a defense contract or whatever. They know that it's coming, and they invest right through the wazoo in those shares. They know what's coming their way. That's why President Trump exposes it. You've been hearing him has been saying about insider trading.
Yeah.
And that's why these entities have been getting richer and richer and richer. And this is what I'm saying. The employee is screwing over the employer over and over and over again. Now, there's another example. That's unfair. Now, they know what's going down. They go and invest all their money. It's like, they know the horse is going to come through. And guess what? The horse comes through and it goes right through the roof. And they're they're millionaires overnight. You know what I'm saying? How is that fair?
It's not. It's not. And I believe, I don't quote me for sure, but I will check and know for next week. I believe that Harvey has a clause in the bill that precludes that. You know what I'm saying? That will put an end to that, which is as it should be.
It's disgusting.
It's unfair.
Because you know what? You think about it. They come in, right? These Congress people, they're worth way less than a meal, and they leave with millions and millions and millions, and then they end up doing a book deal, making more money.
Yeah.
It's just a money machine. And the other thing is, you will find that this is the common denominator as well, that the majority of them are lawyers. If you know that, because they know how to get away with things. That's why they become lawyers, because they know the loopholes, they know how to jump the hoops, and they know how to make all the cash.
Right.
That's the reality.
They call them lawyer politicians.
Yeah.
Just like Harvey does in the book. So you go back to, you have to ask yourself the question, why are you spending 15, 20, 30, 40 million dollars to get a job that pays $250,000 a year or whatever?
They get holidays. They get a lot of holidays. Have you seen the amount of holidays they get compared to us?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. They get a shitload of holidays. I know it's the Senate's turn, it's the House's turn. We got the day off. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they go, no, you got to go and work like your life depends on it. Otherwise, you can't keep the heat on. But by the way, we're fine. No, how does that? This is the whole system that sucks. The whole system sucks. Sorry, there's so many injustices that we can speak until the cows come home, so to speak.
Yeah. Any more questions?
Yes, there is. Here we go. That one there.
Question: how close is what President Trump is doing compared to your dad's concern? Well, that's a good question. No one knows, other than President Trump.
I can see your dad's work.
I can see his work weave through it. And I think again, I say it over. If you read his book, you have a better idea. Let's just say, let's pretend for a minute that President Trump is following Harvey's plan. Okay, then the more I'm armed with the information, the better really prepared I'm going to be. Now, written 30 years ago, new time. Would there be tweaks? Of course there will. You have to make adjustments. In fact, Harvey said, this is not designed to be the law of the land, but if it makes it to the halls of Congress, maybe some good will come from it. He actually says that in the book. So we can only hope. But the better education you have, solid education. This isn't just about, hey, here's a bill, let's do this or that. This is about why. What are the failed examples? What has gone wrong that we actually need a bill like this? It's got all that history in it. So it's about the education, which, as FCB points out all the time, the better educated you are, the more empowered you are.
Exactly.
I hope that answers your question. Not actually.
That was spot on.
Okay.
There's another one about your raccoons.
Oh, do you have names? I do for some. In the beginning, everybody had a name, and now some of them have names. Like I said, it's baby season, so. And I could talk about my raccoons all night, but as they will stay around with their mom for a while, and then they will start to move to other areas, and usually by the next year we'll have another part of the core group. But to answer your question, yes, many of them have names.
Awesome. I like, they don't go and eat the cat's food, do they?
Oh, they do.
They do. Oh shit.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, my cats
Poor
have
cat's anorexic
separate quarters, and they come in and out. But their diet, I'm sure that would be another question. I feed the raccoons cat food, cereal, apples, peanuts, and they get grapes, cookies. Now they only like the vanilla cream cookies.
Is it all healthy though, darling? There's no nasties in there?
What?
Like, when you buy the cookies, do you make them or you?
Oh no, I don't make them. No.
Oh, you don't make them? Okay.
No, I don't.
Stuff it. Here you go. Get what you're given.
All right. But those they have to come to me to get. So not everybody gets a cookie. So.
Okay, next one. So this is from Stella again for you.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. I will resend it right now.
Okay.
That very thing.
Right. How about this one from Claire?
Okay, let me just.
I'll wait for you to do that one.
Yeah, I'm going to forward this.
No, that's okay. Yeah, no. I think there needs to be some major changes, Dee.
Okay, what we got? What's the next question?
Okay, here we go.
Can you explain how life will look when the real Nesara is established? Yeah, I can. Couldn't get better. Go to this flyer. Go to the Nesara Institute, the social media flyer.
So go to the website, guys. Is that right?
No, the one I sent you. Didn't I send you? Did I send you a copy of this?
Yeah, no, I know, but how are we going to get the copy to the people?
Oh, no, well, I'm going to tell her about it first. I just wanted her to see it on the screen.
Okay. Give me a sec. I'll sort that out. What's it called? The social media flyer?
Yeah. And it's available on my Facebook page. So if you go to the website, go down to the bottom, hit the Facebook link, you can go there and you can get a copy of this and you can print it out and give it to everyone.
Here we go.
Okay,
right there.
Here we go. So first little section background talks about my dad. Here we go. Core principles. Replace federal income tax with a national sales tax. This would end personal and corporate income tax. Replaces them with a broad, low-rate consumption tax collected at the point of sale. Simplifies compliance, removes the IRS from individual lives, and ensures fairness. Okay, so I'll just, elaborate on that a little bit. By replacing our federal income tax with a consumption-based tax, you're only going to pay at the register when you buy something. This returns your privacy. So how is life going to look? Okay, I don't have to justify to the government what I spent. Okay, it's none of their business, right? I pay my tax at the register, and certain things are not taxable. A lot of the necessities of life, rent, food, medicine supplies, some raw materials that manufacturing would use to produce goods and retail goods are not taxable. So you're going to have more money in your pocket. There was another flyer that we did. We'll have to, I'll throw that one out on the Facebook page as well.
Okay.
It's called, How Does It Affect My Paycheck? And that's a really good one. Okay, so the next part of the bill, it will eliminate compound interest on secured loans. Mortgages, auto loans, and simple lending repay principal and simple interest only. Families and small businesses keep more of their earnings. So your mortgage would be anything that is a secured loan, a car, mortgage, something like that, has right now they charge you compound interest. This would be completely eliminated with Nesara. They would be able to charge, like I'm saying charge you, but you're going to borrow the amount, let's say, of the house plus a monetization fee, a simple interest fee. That's flat. Okay. It's a certain percentage of the price. So in an example, let's say you buy a house and right now you're paying for 2.5, almost 3 houses with interest rates today. By the end of your 30-year servitude, this would be like a house and a half. So these costs will come down. Again, putting more money in your pocket. Now, reform the monetary system. Moves away from unlimited fiat expansion, restores a value-based currency, gold and silver standard, protects savings, and stabilizes the dollar. We return to a bimetallic currency. Thereby, your dollar is actually backed by something that is of worth. Okay. Right now, it is a debt. So this is going to, your purchasing power will be more. Okay. Benefits for workers and families, higher take-home pay, no income taxes withheld, fairness across the board, debt relief. And then I just have a little paragraph at the end. So specifically, if you look at the big picture, we would not be taxed, and it stimulates investment. It stimulates companies to do business here permanently, thereby increasing the standard of living because high-paying jobs are coming back, and you have more money in your pocket to spend. Plus, one of the biggest things that I like is the privacy. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have to right now. I have to justify everything. And so when you go to the register, keep your receipt or don't keep your receipt. That's your business.
Well, have you been seeing what's going on in the UK, D, with the digital IDs they're trying to enforce?
I haven't seen any recent stories, but I know what they are, and no, not a fan.
Yeah, no, that's that's imposing on people's privacy. It's
it is.
The opposite of Nesara, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And look, thank God there are people millions of people have signed a petition against this. Now, what is this doing? This is awakening people because people need to get off their bums and do something about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, President Trump is in control. He's got this, right? However, people need to wake up organically. So these things need to come to attention in order for people to go out there and make a difference. Right? You have to.
Yeah, you're right. And here's one of the dangers, and I'm so glad to hear that people are protesting this. Digitized identity and is one step away from digital currency, one step away from tokenization of assets. So there's a lot of big words. Well, what does all of that mean? That means that, they scan your retina, your fingerprint, or whatever it is the biometric that they're using that identifies you. Okay. They get rid of all cash, all that kind of stuff. We're using cards now, which is almost the same thing, but it's all of that's gone. And now they control all of your money in the ones and zeros in the computers. Who controls those computers? Algorithms control those computers. And so let's just say that they don't want you to go shopping that day. Maybe oh my gosh, we have another COVID. They shut everything down. You're not able to buy anything. Retailers are not able to open. These massive computers now not only have the control over your money, look at Palantir. They have control over your medical data. They have control over your personal records from the government. Let's say that you are a 55-year-old person, you have diabetes. Okay, so number one, they're going to look at that algorithm and say, oh, when he goes to the store, he can't buy cupcakes and cookies. No, his little red doesn't work for that. Okay, you see where I'm going with this. And it gets further and further. And as they start looking at combining that with medical information, then now they can take, whoa, this person is 70 years old and they need this particular medical thing that will absolutely save their life. But wait a minute, they're not contributing to the system anymore. They're a draw on the system. You know what? We're going to have to rethink that. It's highly dangerous. It's highly, highly dangerous.
There we go. Look at this. So Starmer unveils digital ID cards in plan. Now, there's a huge protest. There's, what do you call it? Partitions being signed, everything. Okay, it's great. People need to stand up. Now, he happens to be on the left. Now, you know, when we said about the welfare state, you know, we're talking about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he wants people being dependent on the government.
Right.
And then having full control over their lives using these digital IDs.
And what do we say about their idea of creating social utopia by making the judgment calls on wealth utility, okay, and trying to put that at even playing board that completely disintegrates any sovereignty of people, independence, freedom. It makes you nothing but a number in a system. Not that we already are, but I mean, this is to the ultimate degree. When they start taking it, the next step after digital currency is tokenization of assets. And I was at Catherine Fitz. She talks about digital currency and tokenization of assets. She's wonderful. If you haven't heard about her, please look her up. She's been sounding the alarm about this for a long time. And tokenization of assets is what you own. It becomes, you don't have a deed anymore. Okay, it becomes a token represented in a computer somewhere, and that's what it is. And again, who controls these computers? Algorithms. So they can just decide to do whatever they want with it. Completely undermines personal sovereignty. What you got there, FCB?
So this is the petition that's out there in the petition.parliament.uk.
Okay.
And it says, do not introduce digital ID, so that you can see the numbers are increasing with the signatures.
Yeah.
So people need to do their bit. You need to stand up against this kind of system.
Yeah.
You know, this is like very 1984. What do you call it? Back in the day,
George Orwell, 1984. Yeah.
Exactly.
We're beyond that. It's like super.
Yes.
Super big.
But you know what, guys? We all got to do our bit. We got to stand up. We got to make a difference, right?
Yeah.
Now, we know President Trump's controlling things. Now, he went there to the UK, right? We did that. We saw that whole thing. A lot of unprecedented things. A lot of, shall we say, President Trump stepping in front of the king, showing who's boss. The sword, the whole thing. We saw those ceremonies. They were acknowledging President Trump as a leader, right? As the leader. You could see it, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that things have to happen organically. So this has all been done to awaken the masses from their slumber, that they've got to stand up. They've got to make a difference. They can't just sit around and watch the football and expect everybody else to do it for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh, absolutely. People have to get involved, and no one is coming to save us. I'm sorry to be the bearer of that news, but it's not going to happen. And even if you feel overwhelmed or like I can't do anything, yes, you can. And any little action that you take in that direction is a positive effect. It sends out a ripple that you can't imagine, that you don't never know how far that's going to go. Like something as simple as passing out flyers or sharing this show or whatever. It reaches people. Filling in that petition, it'll grow. But right, it's got to grow organic.
Exactly. Okay, let's continue on. What do you reckon, D?
Okay. What you got?
Okay. Right there. That one.
Would personal property tax go away? I've had this question before, and this deals with local, state, and I guess for a lot of people, it's county. Where I live, it's parishes. That is a local tax. So Harvey's bill does not address that, but that is one of those things that would have to be discussed. I'm not sure what the states would do individually. I hope that answers.
Well, that's a rort too. That is a rort. Property tax and tax on this and tax on that.
Yeah.
We've been over taxed. Like Harvey's idea, flat rate.
Yes. And hopefully, if you have something like the National Economic Stabilization Recovery Act nationally, this will have trickle down effects. How far will those effects go? That's up to us to work out, right? We have who makes up these local civic and state legislatures? We do. Okay, so if you go down there and get involved, then you have power and can help make those decisions. But yeah, I think it would have some positive trickle down effects. I hope so, because I pay property taxes too. So I feel you. You.
Now, as I said, I've written to Rumble, and I've told them about people using President Trump's likeness and pushing AI videos. You've seen that it's running rampant out there, right? So there's a statement being made about President Trump truth on AI. No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't truth about med beds are coming. And no. This is an AI video.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a lot of this is where we need to use our discernment. We really do. Don't go and ask Grok or whatever, is this an AI video? You know what I mean? Is this, is this, that? I mean, how about we use our brains too?
Yeah.
And use this.
Yeah, if you think about it, okay. It's just like that other one you were showing, that Simon person. I was saying, if you have this kind of information and these kind of agreements, are you really going to be down here in a, seamy looking couch with a dirty pillow behind you talking about, this kind of stuff? Is President Trump, as busy as he is, actually going to make a statement? And if he did, let's just pretend, oh my God, he did. It would go worldwide. There wouldn't be a news program that wouldn't cover it. So yeah, use your discernment.
You need to, guys, in this day and age, especially there's something I want to talk about, which is very important. And I know your dad he's not around to see this, but the AI is very concerning. Okay. In the sense of, number one, we're all trying to work out where is our place in all of this. Now, AI is replacing, it's fact, it is replacing a lot of positions. Number one, I've been, obviously you see that banking positions have been, to do with customer service, to do with medical receptionist works, that sort of thing. It's replacing even computer programmers. That's the level of intelligence I'm talking about. So it's going to be able to program itself, look after itself, okay, and left to its own device, it's going to realize that, as I said, we are an inconvenience. That's what it's going to do. Now, it's going to get rid of a lot of the grunt work. It really is. That's the reality. Let's be honest, right? The repetitive work. Say, for example, let's talk about in China. In China, they're what they call dark factories. Have you heard of them? There's no light. Dark factories, right? So basically they can produce cars, they can produce goods with no lights on there, AI working 24/7 with robotics and all that. So they're not using the power to power. Of course, why would you need lights where there's no humans around? And this thing works round the clock. Wow. That's what's in China right now. And this is where we are. So realistically speaking, when we're talking about, when you say all these industries are coming in, we're not talking about factory work. Forget about that. That's going to be taken over by AI, right? Yeah. The factories are going to have their own power plants because AI is very power hungry, as President Trump says. So realistically speaking, people are going to need to be retrained in new technologies. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not only new technologies, but supporting technologies. You know, you sort of people who learn to be electricians, learn to handle that kind of stuff, that construction, you know, all that kind of stuff. Those are the people that are going to have the high paying jobs. And that's the kind of the way I see it. And, you know, you also got something to think, you know, the AI machines and these dark plants producing some stuff at such a high rate. Who's going to consume all of that? Okay. When it's consumed and used up, where is it going to go? All right. To the dump. Okay. Your planet reaches a certain point of max capacity. Okay. So it's not reasonable to think that they can just pump 24/7 and that everything that's coming out is going to be actually consumed. Seems a little wasteful.
Well, look, with China, because it's supplying the world, right?
Yeah.
So that's the demand that's on it. So realistically speaking, President Trump's trying to regain that industry because they've also taken, remember, the intellectual property, which is very, very fundamental important as well, right? So in other words, we're living in a world where electricity is basically the new currency. That's where it is, right? Now, you think about these crypto coins and anything to do with the digital world, like these tokenizations and all, you know, all that stuff. NFTs, you've heard about that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They need a lot of electricity. So, in other words, I've given an example and I've done my research. With Bitcoin, they mine them, right? Now, to mine one Bitcoin costs you an average around $60,000. I'm talking about a lot of electricity there.
Right.
Right?
Is that a good use of our resources?
No, it isn't. That's what I don't get. Like, this is what I'm saying. But do you see what I mean? Like, this is this is the ridiculousness that we're living in right now. Now, these Bitcoins, okay, were generated or was created by somebody that nobody knows, by the way. You know that?
Yeah.
And it's just we're living in very uncertain times. That's where we are. And it's very, I guess for a lot of us, it's like, you know, we take each day as it comes because we have to. Mm-hmm. All right. But you know what it is? It's like you've been told what's happening, but you can't see in front of you. You know what I mean? You just can't, because you don't know we're living in very unpredictable,
that's what it says,
very uncertain times. And this is where you're seeing that, number one, the debt is just going up and up and up. Now, obviously, it's going to come to a point where it's just going to go
That's
crash.
What I'm talking
Everything's
about.
going to crash.
And
President Trump's doing it by design. I know that. Because remember, everything has to be done organically. So how are you going to crash this fiat currency system? This system that's been built on, as I said, debt slavery. It's got to be done organically. It's got to make sense to the masses. Mm-hmm. So it's obviously, you could see that it's coming to a crash. Everything is about to crash. And we need to, and you're seeing that the world is also stocking up on the biometallics. The gold and silver is increasing in price.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say they are preparing.
Yeah. Yes.
They are preparing.
Right. And then you have to also consider the human factor in this.
That's the thing. Where do we fit in as far as if AI is taking over everything, then how are we supposed to generate an income? Do you know what I mean? To be able to buy anything, or are we going towards what they call a universal basic income? You heard about that, haven't you?
Universal basic economy. That's a global economy.
So no, basically it's becoming everyone's on a substantial amount of money, so their welfare state. Mm-hmm. And then if you want to work, it's going to be your choice and you can make extra money. So money's not going to be an issue anymore.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
But it's going to be a bonus if you work on top of that. So you get what I'm saying? So in other words,
kind of.
I can tell you what I think about it. Number one, we all need to live, right? We all need food, water, shelter, whatever it is. They are our God-given rights. They literally are our God-given rights. I truly believe we shouldn't have to be paying for all that. That's the reality, because that is our God-given rights. Now, anything above and beyond, you know what I mean? We've got to get to a point, what I truly believe is where, because, you know, with money, there is crime, as you know. That's why people do crimes, right? Because of money. So this is the dilemma that we're in. Now, when people want to, you know, obviously make money fast, they do crimes. So it stimulates criminal activity. Then also, look at it today. We're living in a world where we're living in the world of the influencer. Now, have a look at what's going on. These influencers with OnlyFans. So you got teachers, nurses, all of them saying, bugger it, I'm going to be making millions of dollars by going on OnlyFans. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then these people are measured as in being, because they've got money, they're successful, and the others aren't. You know what I mean? Look, it's the whole system sucks.
Well, I see that as a more utopian view of things.
I think it's all rorted, to be quite honest.
And I would say that you know, you have people who are going to commit crimes no matter what. Okay, but if the policies were better, like, you know, people that are on welfare, they don't. You know, that's not enough for them. I mean, it's not enough for anyone. Okay.
No, welfare is, forget about it. It's
right. But what I'm saying is, and so therefore, you know, that's going to be some of your higher percentage of people that do crimes. I believe in a sovereignty and, you know, free market society. But when you start, so, you know, you're going to grant everybody the same across the board, and then, you know, that's the level playing field, and then go up. Well, how do you pay for that? And who decides that what you consider housing and what I consider housing and what that person considers housing is the same? You see what I'm saying? We're trying to
the problem is that
legislate utility. You legislate utility.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want a barbecue pit. He wants a swimming pool. Maybe I have a family of 4. You see what I'm saying? So there has to be free will.
But when you see people that are basically, as I said, you know, we're living in a very unjust society, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest, okay? Yeah. The pyramid. Once again, it all goes back to this pyramid scam, right? The ones on the bottom are carrying the ones on the top.
Always has been.
It's the same thing, the class system. Where you go on the airplane, right? And it's the ones that are all in cattle, you know what cattle class is, right? The ones that economy. Yeah, we know what cattle class is. I've been there many times. Right. Where the cattle class is what's supporting the whole plane, and then some are making a profit, and then the cream is being made from those that are flying on first class and business class. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you can see that this whole system of class is continuing on, and especially when you've got these supposed employees supposed to be working for us, and it's the arse way around. Everything's all arse about. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's several different topics. Okay, so you know, as far as flying on an airplane,
to talk about.
Yeah, you're just like bouncing off the place. Flying on an airplane, okay, that's a private company. I want a better seat. I want to pay more. That should be okay. All right. I've flown both ways. And sometimes I didn't have the money, but then
you got somebody that is going around there, okay, like as I said, right? Uh-huh. And this is what I want to give you an example, Dee, and we're just discussing and having a conversation. Yeah, I like this. Right? Okay. Now, for example, people are quick to judge people, right, based on what they are. They don't judge them on their merits. They judge them on what they got, right? So, for example, you got somebody that's living next door to somebody else. Now, the house next door happens to be, you know, like a, you know, mini mansion. They've got the best, you know, cars, this, that, the other. The house next door doesn't have it. However, the one next door with all that, you know, wealth has been doing things, shall we say, you know, could be a drug dealer, could be someone on OnlyFans, could be an influencer that's a scum bucket, right? And the one next door is someone that has to wake up early in the morning and work hard, and yet you'll get somebody saying, look at that person, he's a bum. That one's more successful. Do you see what I mean? This is the society that we're living in.
That's the society perception that we live in. Yes.
Yes.
And it's a shame. You should not.
It is
judge
a shame.
people, you know, and that, like I said, I agree with you on that. I think the question for society becomes, what we should be asking ourselves is, the rich one who is an influencer or a drug dealer or a whatever else you mentioned, why are we allowing that to be profitable? Okay.
Well,
okay. So why are we allowing that to be profitable? If we want to claim to be a good, moral community society, then that's not okay. So, you know, see two different things there.
Yeah.
You know, I learned
it's like this.
over my life.
Harvey,
you cannot judge
right?
people. You cannot judge people. You really don't know until you actually spend some time with that person and talk to them. And what you're going to find out 98% of the time is they're just like you. You know, they're really
well. You know, look, you got people that like Harvey, right? That, like, you know, you got someone that's say well off, and they can take you to the cleaners, right? So realistically speaking, justice is a whore. Sorry, but that's what it is. Because at the end of the day, they're the ones with the better lawyers, right? So Harvey's done the right thing. He's done everything the right way, right? And he goes and brings that out in the world, but he gets slammed by those that have got money,
right?
Got high-paid lawyers, and they know the loopholes, because that's what it is, right? You got no chance in the world. You know what I mean? This is the injustice, the injustice that we live in this society.
You're right. So the question becomes one of morality and heartfelt, you know, what is right, what is wrong. And like I said, there's a lot of different ways, you know, justice comes in a lot of different forms. But that's the root. That's what we need to be looking at when we start to create policies for our government. Is what is just, what is moral, what is a natural right. Okay. And yeah,
that's why I say
it's not,
President Trump. We need to go meritocracy, known by thy merits.
Right. And that's the way it should be. And, you know, influencers who make a lot of money and that type of stuff, we've talked about that a lot this evening, but
yes,
again, why they're making money? Because we as a society are consuming what they're selling. Back down to the individual. Stop looking at it. Change the channel. And that's a personal decision. So every person has that power to participate or not.
Well, let me give you a heads up. The OnlyFans, you know what they are, right? They do all that disgusting filth on there, and they get paid millions of dollars, right? Did you know that the owner of OnlyFans actually gives money, millions and millions of dollars, by the way, to AIPAC, and then AIPAC give the money to Congress? So how's that going to work?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the system that we're living in right now.
That's why it needs to change. That's what.
Yeah, so that's why this whole system has to change, and literally President Trump needs to drain the whole swamp, because the swamp runs on both sides, as Harvey said. It's true. Yeah. Both sides of the coin.
Both sides.
It goes back to what we said.
Yeah, and it's the left and the right, and the ones in the middle, and anyone that's on the take for the, you know, they have made that decision that they're not going to really fix the problem. They're going to, you know, do the show and take the money and let someone else worry about it. But they're going to convince you that we're out here fighting for this, and this social engineered problems that we get wrapped up in, and don't look at the real issues. Like I said, our personal responsibility for our actions that we take and what we consume, our personal responsibilities for where we spend our money and how we spend our money, our personal responsibilities are we involved in our local or civic organizations? Are we involved in state government. It starts from the grassroots.
You know, the problem is, Dee, and I'm going to say it because I've seen it not just only in the States, worldwide, right?
Right.
Now, I remember like when a politician or a leader wants to get in, they promise the world, I'll promise everything. They'll promise even their own mother. You know what I mean? They don't care, right? It's all open there. And it's like when the time comes, they just want to get in. And the moment they come in, it's like, that's why President Trump says, promises made, promises kept. No, they don't keep a damn promise. They make a few that they keep, but the majority they don't. They'll say anything they can just to get their foot in there. Mm-hmm. You've seen it time and time again, right?
Right. And like I said earlier, I think they may start out okay. They start out with probably good intentions when they're young in the political career. But as they advance and the more that comes at them and the more opportunities, it's human nature. So people who have the courage of their convictions, people who are willing to stand their ground and say, no, I'm not going to take your bribe money, under the table money, are few and far between.
Yes,
that
there's
they really
issues
are.
With that.
Yeah.
What happens is if you don't take the bribe money, bad things happen to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Which we've seen in the past, haven't we?
Yes.
Okay, like JFK, right? Ronald Reagan.
And that's the worst thing. But, on the surface level, you're involved in scandal that never actually happened. You're not given opportunities. They completely shut you out, that's why draining the swamp is an entire process, It
needs to be done because you know what? It affects everybody worldwide. It really does. Mm-hmm. And President Trump basically, we're still talking about being our own saviors. We are our saviors, but without President Trump's help, the military and everything that's happening right now, we wouldn't be able to pull this off. Let's be honest, right? No. He has. You want to call him, like in the Q drops, he talks about him being a savior, right? Mm-hmm. He does say it, savior of mankind, right? Because you know what? You think about it, shall we say the switch has been on the opposite side, and they've had control, and everything's flipped over in the other direction.
Right.
And this great awakening, as we call it, is basically we're living it. We're actually living it right now. Yeah. Now there are, as I said, there are different levels of awareness. Like people still believe the fake pseudo Nesara business, right? Mm-hmm. And they claim to be awake. But the thing is, if you're awake, wouldn't you ask for proof or facts, evidence, and receipts? Yeah. Are you just going to believe the same way you believe the mainstream media as you did back in the day? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah. Excuse me. You're being spoon-fed stuff, and you don't bother to check it out. I don't understand that. I can't wrap my mind around it. I guess because I've always been a curious, studious person, and I want to know why. But again, it's you have to use your discernment, and you should, especially in this. If you're investing, like I said earlier, if I'm sending my money somewhere, I want to know where it's going, who's getting it, and especially to an organization. I support a lot of humane animal organizations. I can guarantee you I'm looking at their profit and loss. I'm looking to see how much money they're actually spending on the services for the animals and how much they're taking home, and you would be surprised. We ought to do a deep dive on that one day. But
definitely.
Yeah, I think we should because, again, I just don't give my money away. I work too hard for it.
That's the thing. I mean, these people, what happens is that they got good intentions, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And these con artists and grifters, they take advantage of that. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. They
do.
excuse me, they take care, and we talked about people's fear, but people's hope, people's frustration. And just like Harvey said, living in interesting times in chapter 8, people who feel disenfranchised, powerless, stuck. I'm never going to get out of this group. Everybody wants to have utility of wealth. What do? They join a group. Okay. Whatever group appeals to them emotionally and psychologically. Okay. And that's where these grifters prey on these people. Right. And it gives them, like you sort of, hopium. And it's pretty hard to break that grip. It's hard to break that grip, especially when you're offering something practical and realistic that is a bumpy ride. Okay. It's not, there's not roses and sunshine for everybody. You have to let it go through its paces, and man, it'll be great for everybody. But it's not just, oh, let's flip on this light switch and it's immediate, utopia.
Yeah. Well, there are people, unfortunately, that see, there's, these grifters, and they're so cocky. I don't know if you've seen them, right? But there's one particular one that is so cocky enough to say, buy virtual gold from me. Virtual gold, it's not backed by government.
Mm-hmm.
But I prefer, this is what he says, I prefer to have my gold and silver in my hand. And he's juggling it, and he drops on the ground. And it's like, you're literally telling people that basically I'm screwing you over. That's what he's doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right there. And still they sit there and they believe all the garbage that comes out of his mouth. Then I say to them, well, sorry, get a mirror, put it in front of you, and point the finger directly at the mirror, and that's the person you should be blaming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry, but you're being told directly by this entity that, hey, I prefer my gold and silver in my hand that I can juggle around with in front of your face, but come and buy my virtual gold. That's not backed by the government. I mean, how does that work? It doesn't make any, there's a lot of things that don't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And virtual anything is not, not something I'm going to be investing in. But again, like I said, you catch people when they're hopeless, desperate, looking for relief, and they're easy to prey upon. And it's sad. So.
Okay. So we've got Teresa, a question for you. There we go. Okay, Teresa.
Are included in my mortgage and city assessment 10% higher interest. Okay. I believe she's talking about property taxes again. So let me read this full thing. Okay. Taxes are included in my mortgage, and city assesses my home 10% higher each year. Yeah. Welcome to the club. Okay. So over $2,500 a year. So if the mortgage rates on loans are going down, why shouldn't taxes? Okay. Taxes, your property taxes, as I understand it, are based on the value of your home. They have nothing to do with your mortgage or your loan. You borrow this money to buy the house. That's a deal you cut with the bank or the mortgage company. The county, city, whatever it is, looks at your property value, and they assess that every year. I've rarely seen it go down. In fact, I'm thinking of, I don't think I've ever seen assessments go down. That's why people get into the real estate market. Now, we've had a couple of real estate dumps and dives, over, my 50 years, but generally it goes up in value. And that's where they get that particular tax assessment. Two separate different things. Compound interest, doing away with compound interest affects your mortgage loan, not your property taxes. And your income tax is based on your income. Again, that's a federal issue, doesn't have anything to do with local or state.
Awesome. I hope that answered your question, Teresa. I think that's about it. What do you reckon?
Ready?
Dee?
Yeah.
I don't have any more questions in the chat.
Well, I appreciate everybody turning out tonight, and I enjoyed chatting with y'all and with you, FCB. We covered a lot of territory tonight.
Well, we did look, and next week, what do we got, love?
Okay, what next week? I think we're going to do chapter 4.
Okay, yes.
Get your book. I'm telling you, when I go over these things, I do the highlights and stuff. You really got to read it.
We really appreciate, guys. I want to say I really, truly appreciate Dee's hard work, and we all do. I know we all do.
Well,
I want to say thank you, Dee.
I really enjoy doing it. I do.
We appreciate it.
So yeah, chapter 4 is really good. I told you we talk about natural rights versus civil rights and how we enter into the corporation that we really don't know that we're doing. Now, chapter 5 is the bill itself. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. I'm not going to do a show on the bill. I think I have another plan for that. But definitely chapter 4 next week.
Awesome.
And
so it's called Negotiating with the Warden from Master to Serf. And it's not the surfing
from
business.
The master, from the master to the serf. Yeah. Like a feudal lord to the serf. That's, Right.
Oh, we had a bit of a laugh. And don't forget, guys, please support Dee as well.
And
okay, go to nesarainstitute.com. Okay, now, as Dee said, any merch that you purchase, she's helping her mum out. Okay.
Yeah. I'll tell that little story. My mom is she'll be 80 in February. She is still working. She is working because she has a house note. And although my husband
note is
I'm sorry. I just say that everybody knows
it's a mortgage, isn't it?
It's a mortgage. And she my husband and I, of course, we help her out and as much as we can, but that is still, over her head. And so when I started this merch thing, I said, any profits that I make, that we make from this thing are going to go straight to pay on the principal on our house, because I know Harvey would have wanted that. I want that. So as soon as we start making some sales, and we sold a few little things, but when things pick up, then I'm going to start putting up a balance sheet and letting y'all know. So
awesome. And then any questions that you have for your mother? Is it Jean?
Jean, yeah. So during the week, try to get them to me by Monday, maybe Tuesday. What?
The email. That's it.
Yeah. Excuse me. I was getting late.
You're starting to sound like Alex Jones. Stop it.
Sorry, it's getting late. So questions that you would like me to ask my mom, go ahead and email me at Nesara Institute Gmail, and we'll get them on the agenda, because we're probably going to sit down middle of next week.
Awesome. And if you'd like to, the Grift report. That's what we should call it, the Grift report.
Yeah.
If you'd like to send in anything to do with any grifters, okay, please do so. Your request, and then also a link to their lovely work, so we can go into that direction and then expose them on the show, because you know what? These entities need to be exposed. They need to be felt uncomfortable, and we're doing it. Don't you worry.
Yeah, a little bit at a time. So we're making progress, and y'all are working at it. I see things on sites I go on, and I can see, oh, look, somebody from FCB's group has been there already and made a comment or a post. So I really appreciate it. Y'all are doing a great job.
Yeah, and join Dee's social media platform, Facebook.
Please do. Yeah, I put out posts all the time, and so we would love to have y'all join us.
Yes. And also, don't forget us here at the Freedom Channel broadcast, okay? You can click on here, and also, as I said, join our platform. It doesn't cost anything, okay? And we need your support. I mean, the more we get the message out, the better for all of us. Because where we go on, we're all in this together, and we all need to bond together and smash these lies and deceptions.
Yeah.
The only way, and the flyer. We need to get this flyer out there.
Yeah, it's on the Facebook page, and I'm going to post these other flyers on there too, and as well, they should be out on the website and the blog section by end of next week. And I encourage y'all, look, that's why they're there. They're there for you to print and pass out. And like I said, a good ground game is where it's at, especially when we're trying to reach as many people as possible. I went on and ordered a T-shirt today. Kraken T-shirt.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't
worry.
wait for it to come in. So I'm really excited.
No, I'm going to order the black on. You got to do that one for me, all right?
Yeah, I'll make you a black T-shirt.
Please.
Ask me about real Nesara and the one with Harvey. So I'm trying to find somebody who can really do because a picture, I want it done well. So.
Oh yes, that would be great. That'd be awesome, guys. Right. So I guess it's good night from me, or
good night
wherever
for
it
me.
is.
It's good night for us, and it's
day over here. Right. Okay, and don't forget tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, tune into the Pulse. Okay, part 3 of the art of deception. Part 2, we had some problems because of basically Rumble. They don't like the truth getting out there, D. That's the problem. And then they started mucking around with the real Nesara show too. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, no. I don't want that to. This has got to stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it really has to stop. And we need to, obviously, guys, we need to do our bit. Now, I would like everyone, and I'm going to put it out there, to go and complain to Rumble, right? Like D did it. We're all been doing it, and the more they complain, the better for us, because you know what? They're going to get the message. They can't continue on to sit there and use their bullying tactics, right? So you can contact support@rumble.com and make it attention to Claudio Ramello, okay? Claudio Ramello, because Claudio needs to know that he can't do this. And they've been doing it way, way, way too long and mucking up our channel to get the truth. So basically, you think about it, you saw that thing, D, about how the bots work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was...
They allow bots...
Mind-blowing.
Now, think about this. Rumble, and not only Rumble, YouTube, and all the rest of them, they allow bots. So these others, these fakers, I call them fakers because they're not truthers. Don't even bother calling them that. So what they do is they give the illusion that they've got so many followers, so many people watch their videos, and a lot of the mathematics doesn't add up with the statistics, right? You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is that they purchase these bots, and Rumble allows it to continue. And why does Rumble allow it to continue? Because the more they get out there, the more money they make through obviously selling, sponsorships that Rumble push. Now, also their advertising. Think about it. These ads that you see on Rumble, they're not mine. They do it. So I got no control over that. I just want to make that very clear, D, because people say, oh, it's my doing. I got nothing to do with it. Right?
No, they pick. Yeah. You don't get to choose.
Yes. So basically, we all need to do our bit. I'll put that name up there. So, we need to all do our bit and make it attention to Claudio Ramello, right? Claudio needs to know, together with Mr. Pavlovsky, the owner of, is the CEO of Rumble, that they can't continue to do this kind of business.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, ladies and gentlemen. And they can't continue to use their bullying tactics because I refuse to. The thing, people don't realize what happens behind the scenes. And I think it's about time that people knew that they go and they try and push me to sell their sponsors out there. To stop doing that. Imagine this. Stop what we're doing and start promoting olive oil like this other clown does out there, right? Selling life insurance, health insurance, and all the rest of the crap. No. I'm not going to be selling that kind of garbage, and I'm not going to be bullied. And you know that because I don't do it, they play with my numbers. They muck around, and then also a lot of people have written in and they've complained, D, that they can't hit the thumbs up.
All right.
They can't put comments.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the reflection of the numbers aren't adding up because more and more people are joining and they're saying we're joining and we can't join in this. So no, this has to stop, Claudio. You know what I mean? Yeah. It has to come to an end.
It seems like censorship.
It's, you know what it is? It's like Rumble are supposed to be a freedom speech platform. Now, what they're doing is, they're allowing you to speak. But the thing is, they've got control. It's not to force it.
Right. It's a different method. Okay, so
Yes.
it's just a different method. When I saw the video of that room with those,
The
you call them bots, but there were people standing there,
Oh, yeah.
doing those things. So that companies for hire to sit there and do all of these likes and everything to drive.
Right here. Let me show you.
stuff.
I've got it right here, darling. Let me show you.
That's yeah,
Right there.
that should be illegal.
Well, the problem is it isn't. Now,
Yeah.
the problem is that they've been getting away with it, and Rumble allows it to get away with it. They continue. Now, let me show you something, D, right? You want to buy an increased Rumble, views. All right. Let's see. Let's have a look how they do it, right? I'm someone with facts and some receipts, right?
Okay.
I work like this. Are you watching?
Yeah,
Here we go.
I'm watching.
Look at this. Buy Rumble views for only $2. Look at that. All these different entities out there that you can buy likes, views of videos, followers. You can buy the whole box and dice. Look at that.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's same for it's all the social media platforms that are.
This is ridiculous.
I know they do it on YouTube as well. So
and you know what? Like, it should be illegal, unlawful, what they're doing, but no. Mr. Romello and Mr. Pavlovsky, who Mr. Pavlovsky hangs around with President Trump. I've seen him. And my question is this: how long is this going to be continuing for?
yeah,
Where this injustice, because it is an injustice that's been done.
yeah, because people like us, and I'm sure we're not alone here, that are trying to help people with an education and empowering people for real, are being pushed to the side for that. And so you have to ask yourself, why?
Yeah. And the question is, why do they refuse to get back to me on my question and on what I presented?
Yeah. But I'm saying, why, when you give it let's put some critical thinking over it. Okay, so here I am. I'm one of these social media companies, and I'm going to allow people that are committing fraud and grifting people to continue to do this, and especially if they have fake followers, because it generates money. But here's something real that obviously, now let's do this. Obviously, the principles in Harvey's plan resonate enough with people that the grifters cherry pick from that and take it everywhere. So there's something valid here.
Well, it's disgusting.
Wait a minute, I'm not finished. If they supported the truth and the valid thing, think about how much more money they can make. I'm just saying it seems strange.
No, it is.
Maybe their marketers aren't that good. I don't know.
No, the whole the system is flawed.
Yeah.
Okay. They've got entities that are working in Rumble that are basically working in conjunction with some of these podcasters as well. Right. And they're allowing this business. And there are podcasts also, they've got shares in Rumble and, shall we say, pull in there to allow this to continue. So have a look at this. Rumble followers. Look at this. 10 to 50 per day at 100. So you got 1,000 Rumble followers at 160 US, right? And the way they do it is in drips and drabs. So basically you can do the speed. So you can say, to make it look organic. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can say, if you do it real quickly, it looks sus. But if you do it in using a speed method, which is slowing the speed down and doing it over a period of time, you get what I mean? So rather than getting 1,000 followers in one go, you can get them in 10 days. It's adjustable in the speed. So this is what I'm saying. This is the tricks of the trade and the deception and the lies. And have a look at that. It just continues on and on and on. It's disgusting and disgraceful. It really is.
Yeah, that is.
It really is. And that's what I'm saying, Dee. This is what we're up against.
That's what we're up against. And so I've already sent an email to the support Rumble. I'll send one to the people that you've indicated.
Yes,
And
Claudia Ramello.
I will also email President Trump. I do that.
Please
regularly.
do.
I do it regularly.
Yes.
So I'm sure he knows.
And I'll
Probably tired of hearing from me. So.
And the thing is, Mr. Christopher Pavlovsky, that hangs around with President Trump, shame on you. You go around and you do all these things. Mr. Dan Bongino, that's got huge shares in Rumble, shame on you. Shame on you that you allow BlackRock, Vanguard. Have you seen who the owners are? I mean, the top shareholders of Rumble? BlackRock, Vanguard, the worst of the worst. That's why I'm saying it doesn't surprise me at all.
Right.
And this system has to be exposed and it has to collapse. Because you know what? This is the unfairness. And they put it in the guise of having freedom of speech. Yes, they're going to allow you to speak. But whether you get that message out there or not is another matter altogether.
Yeah.
And I know this for a fact. And my background's in IT. They can't pull me. And I told Mr. Ramello, don't even bother to insult my intelligence, especially someone that knows about programming and is a programmer himself, network engineer. Don't go around insulting my intelligence because I know exactly how it all works. You got flagging. They flag accounts and they say this account here is not to go anywhere on that Rumble leaderboard. Because I used to be on that Rumble leaderboard. And now all the grifters, the ones that they enable, all the fraud are always there on the top, always up there on the Rumble board, being pushed up there. So no, sorry, this is right. We've got all the facts and receipts. I've got all the proof. And if I was to take this to court, if I was to take this to court, I would have a field day with the judges.
Yeah.
All right. Because I would have all the facts and receipts at hand, and they wouldn't know what to hit them. They wouldn't know what hit them. The whole, that's right, Kay. The whole thing is rigged.
Yeah. And I'm always the one that, like I said, I want to know why. So that's my thing. Well, we're going to keep at it. Going to keep at it.
Well, we never give up and we never give in,
No,
our motto.
we're not going to. We're not going to.
No.
Keep coming back. So, okay.
Well, that's it. So anyway, bye from me.
Bye for me. We hope to see y'all next week.
Cheers,
Talk to you
God
soon.
bless.
All right. God bless you.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. so